Anytime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the Iron Seas. It is I, your intrepid host, Kahuna. And today I'm joined by, of course, my co-captain, AC Richard, and the legendary Animation Overload. Today we will be discussing the House of the Dragon Season 2. Animation Overload is going to be doing some dragon-related art content. That distraction in the background will be my son. And we will have another guest join us in just a little bit. But I'm very excited to talk about this show. It was such a breath of fresh air after the way that season one or all of Game of Thrones ended. And I'm really hoping they really pull out the ending in season 3. Anyway, Ayo, how the heck are you?
I'm doing A-okay.
Sweet. AC just took off. That's just fine. But yeah, no, I'm excited to talk about this show. Have you read Fire and Blood, AO?
I have not, no.
Hey, Mr. Tim McKay. Can't stay for long, and I haven't had the chance to say hi in ages. Cheers, all. Hey, man, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. I'm excited that you're here.
Have a good
my
night,
son
man.
in the background is definitely going to... And we're back. Everybody like my hat? Makes me feel very masculine. Anyway, but Tim, thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate hearing from you. But anyway, AO, you haven't read the book, you say?
I have not, no.
Yep, it's been put
much of the show either.
Oh no, that's just fine. But you do know art and you do know dragons. I really need to give HOD. Yeah, no, it's not perfect, and I think season 1 is a better adaptation, has less problems with it. But no, it's definitely worth checking out. I think House of the Dragon does reach some of the peaks that it was reached by Game of Thrones in its heyday before it all went down the crapper. At least that's my opinion. There's definitely some worthwhile things. Some of the sillier plot choices and character changes they made they become more pronounced in season 2. I'm really hoping it doesn't continue that momentum into season 3. But that's just my opinion. Tim, it's absolutely worth checking out. And it's a very different story. And plus so many dragons on screen.
That alone.
Such a pleasure. Yeah.
See, like if they were literally crapping the bed in every other aspect, but still had the same like dragon stuff that we see, a lot of people would still watch it, and yeah, it would still like be worth checking out to get to those dragon scenes. But they don't like exactly crap the bed every other scene other than dragons. So it's kind of nice. It does maintain a lot of that. I mean, like, yeah, there's some downsides for sure. They didn't do it perfect. This next season coming up is going to be their chance to right the ship, so to speak, make up for any past mistakes, but it's also kind of like the edge of that plank. You know, they could also just poop the bed and ruin the whole thing. Like a
Ruin
lot
it
of
right at
people.
the end, just like they did last time. It's very possible that could happen. Very
Oh, yeah.
legitimate worry.
Depending on what they do with this season, people might not even show up for like the rest. Like they won't even care. The only people they'll have left are people who like either don't understand, don't care, or are like feel obligated to finish the story.
Yeah, no, that is a possibility. Like there were very few things in season one. I'm like, there were some changes, a lot of changes made sense, obviously, that as any show like this is going to need to change the source material when it is adapted onto the screen. Some of them didn't, but they weren't egregious in season one. Changes, so far as I can tell, were much more egregious in season two. I do have my copy of Fire and Blood here. It has illustrations throughout. It's written in a really fun text, and it's a thick old boy too, considering it doesn't follow a traditional book narrative. And this sucker is like a little over 700 pages of like basically a history book for a place that doesn't really exist. And I really enjoyed reading it.
It's a very fascinating way to write. Honestly, George may have accidentally invented. Like, I could see at some point in the future, this is doing this kind of writing, like encyclopedic, historical world build. I'll just call it world building writing, right? Essentially, just doing this kind of encyclopedic world building writing might be its like entirely own genre. We might see writers that only do this. Like, there's a reason.
I don't know that. Like, can I cut in for just a second? I say, I don't think that would be good. I don't want writers writing entirely like this, like historic. Like, I think as a supplementary work for very beloved worlds and with large characters and an interesting history, I think it's a fine idea. Like Razor Fist has something kind of like that at the end of his second volume of his um the Long Moonlight and oh shoot, Death Mask. That's what it's called, I think. And he does add that, yo, Draco, the Lore Maester. That's a great name.
Yeah. So apologies for my tardiness.
You're good. You're good.
Well, we shall castrate you, but I believe after that we can.
Yeah, but we're gonna cast it into the fire and see what omens appear before us. If the what is it? The mother of the the warrior, the mother, the father, the
stranger.
The stranger. Yeah, we'll see what the stranger tells us about your nads.
Also not directly related, but the hound naming his horse who goes with him everywhere, Stranger, which is basically a representative that brings death in the lore. Cool. He walks with death, he brings death, he rides like death is his companion. That's such a neat little. Anyway, not this show, but I enjoyed that.
Kahuna, be careful. You're talking about symbolism. Be careful, brother, because once you open that can of worms, you're gonna. It's addictive. Symbolism, yeah. Symbolism.
Yeah.
So, but like my final thought on what you what we were just saying about potentially writers only doing like that world building thing. Like, yeah, I totally get. Like, you know, people shouldn't write about summers with Sasquatch either. But you know, that doesn't stop people from doing it. And there might be some. There might be some diamonds in the rough there. You know, you might get a couple authors that just have a really cool world and they haven't written a novel yet for it. You know what I mean? I could see that.
Oh, very possible. I thought it was the Smith.
The Smith.
The Smith is one of the seven gods in the Song of Ice and Fire, like according like the faith of the seven. But the Stranger is another one. It's not one most people pray to, but he represents the stranger who is like the one who everyone is weary of. He brings uncertainty and death, but also possibly a solution to a problem. Yeah. So most people who worship the stranger live on the outskirts or have alternate kind of lifestyles and means of making a living.
It's almost kind of like the god of luck, right? Almost.
No. Stranger is death.
Okay.
The stranger. There are reasons that some would worship the stranger, but he's not luck at all. He brings an element of uncertainty, like Gluck kind of does, but it's
That's
not.
probably That's
It's
where
more
I
like
got,
a bad
caught up.
omen. It's more like a bad omen.
Well, because like death would be like bad luck, and then like solving a problem, good luck. But I see what you mean. It's more like Grim Reaper energy, so to speak.
Haunted One, that is correct. I don't know who you are, but thanks for showing up, man. Yes, there's the crone as well. The crone, I don't remember everything that she represents. Draco might know. He's the lore maester.
He's the lore maester.
Most I know about the crone is that she does represent a certain type of elder wisdom, but there is little to say. But there is little to say about the crone.
I think based on my recent reading of the main books as well, I think there's an element of like it's elder wisdom, and with it a sense of inevitable cruelty as well. Like not meaning to be harmful, but like acknowledge, like the crone acknowledges there's a certain cruelty that is
like
seen
indifference
more
or
as you
something?
age. Yeah, like it acknowledges a necessary evil. Oh, dude, this is already coming together. I love it. But yes, we are talking about season 2 of the House of the Dragon. Draco was a very happy and willing participant and able to stream it onto our Discord at the Iron Seas. We'll post a link for that sometime here soon. But
I believe
Draco,
it's on our YouTube page. I believe in the
yes.
in the stuff.
It's there. We'll see about posting it later. But Draco, how did you feel about season 2 as a follow-up to season 1, as far as both quality and how it adapts the story itself?
It is, I won't lie, it is a poor follow-up to season 1. Like,
in some capacities, I kind of agree. Like
at the start,
because cool things happen in season 2, but it's not adapted quite as well as season 1.
No, it's like it starts off well and then slowly fumbles its way to the end. It's almost like season 1. Like it's a very setup, but we're already past the setup, but we still need to do more setup.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because there are also some things that are just straight outright missing, and I believe that's because of the showrunners focus on certain areas more than others. Possibly also a budget issue to save on the battles and such until they get to season 3. But also because
that's
just
definitely part of it. Yeah.
There's also just issues with the showrunner and George as well, because there's a moment missing in between that we could have had, but there's just no one seemed to care for it. They just wanted Damon and his dreams. But overall, it's not a good follow-up. Like, if you're anticipating the big things, it's a setup, but you have to be either really like certain characters and want to see them focus on. Otherwise, you're just going to be like waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, right. No, and I agree with that. And when you read or listen to Fire and Blood, it's a little, because it's told from the perspective of about like 3 different historians of deliberating value. Some are more reliable than others, but they're all slightly unreliable. There's a lot of uncertainty about the exactness of certain people and how they acted in certain events. And the show, partially by necessity, does not leave it ambiguous. I think there's some of that is a necessity because we're actually seeing it. It's not being told to us by a historian who may or may not have been there. But they've also made some definite character changes. They've focused on certain characters. They've tried to make some characters more heroic, more altruistic, and more misunderstood. And some characters they've tried to make more villainous. And I think it's not an accident. It is on purpose because they've changed how things go. I don't know why they don't they half love and half hate Damon. They try to make him more of a villain in the show by a lot than they do in the book. And it's like that's one example. What did you guys notice that or consider that?
Yeah, I did. I speculate that there's just a lot of modern sensibilities seeping into the writing. Since it's not George himself, they don't have the ability to or desire to want to detach from a modern viewing of things. and thus it's seeping into the writing. So some characters are being slanted this way and that.
Yeah, but as a general rule, this isn't always bad because I've seen this done well, but as a rule, the female characters are elevated to a place of understanding and more heroic disposition, and most of the male characters are, go the other way.
Yeah,
And that's not something I can wholly. It's not enough to ruin the show for me, but it's not something I can just ignore either. It has to be acknowledged. So that is, it's not happenstance. It's just how they have chosen to show and adapt to this particular story. Like I'm sure you noticed, like Alicent is made much more, in my opinion, much more benevolent than than she was in the books. It's much clearer how she is in the books. Like, first of all, they aged her down so that she and Rhaenyra are much closer in age,
which I still think was a mistake to do.
In some ways, yeah. That made them relatively the same age, which makes her father much creepier and much weirder in some ways. And it does a few things, but it does. I think it does more damage than good in some ways. It's like, if they had handled season 2 better, I wouldn't have minded them being closer in age, because it would have added. I think that could have added to the sister dynamic, them doing that. But I think that caused more damage than good by the time season 2 comes around.
Yeah. And I understand why they did it in a sense, because now to explain a lot of things in season 2 and at the end of season 1 of her actions, if she was more like her book counterpart, then she'd have no reason to do those actions. But thanks to that, sister-like connection with Rhaenyra, she has incentive to be a bit more soft and not as ruthless as in the books.
Yeah, no, and I understand that as well. That, and then, yeah, it's always interesting because shows like this, and like this show, especially with its source material being as ambiguous as it is, they were going to have to add to it to pad the time a little bit, and to have scenes of connection that were never in the story. So it was always inevitably going to be a fair bit different than the experience of reading the book. That being said, there are a lot of cool things that happen in season 2. Like, it does depict a lot of cool events. It's a bit more fast paced in that way compared to season 1. Again, you and I both agree. I think that season 1 better adaptation overall does less stupid things, but season 2 is where a lot of the cooler things happen. And so, if you're not a nerd like we are, if you're not as dedicated, like if you don't read the book or you don't really notice like all the cultural things that are going on behind the scenes, season 2 is probably your favorite season if you're a more casual viewer. Would you think so?
I'm not sure. Because it seems like they would prefer season 1 over season 2, because nothing much happened unless you're really into the trippy visions that Damon goes through. But otherwise, not much happens in season 2 aside from episode 1, episode 4, and then
the final, like, what, 2?
Like the final 2 episodes. Like, not much happens. I mean, maybe you like episode 2, but it's probably going to be like near the end. Otherwise, there's a lot of gaps of characters doing nothing and mostly talking, and there's not a lot of action.
Yeah, I still do think there was more. There obviously there were dragon like the dragon. There was one dragon encounter in season 1 that was wasn't really a fight, because Vhagar versus Lucerian's dragon that's not a battle, that's a meal. That being said, the last episode of season 1 is my favorite episode of the whole show. And that's hard to say because the episode 9 is really good too. But I really love that last episode. I think it, like, the way it plays out with Vhagar, it's so threatening and moody, and it really portrays Aemon in a better light. Or is it Aemon? Am I remembering that right? Aemon?
Are you talking about the writer of Vhagar?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Aemon.
Okay, yeah. There's a lot of names, a lot of repeat names, especially with the Targaryens. You have to forgive me for that.
Yeah, it's sadly it's like the condition of what done with royalty. There's a lot of Henrys in the English royal line.
A lot of Jameses, a lot of Henrys, a lot of Williams.
Yeah, it's like you've got the good, you've got the man. This guy was good. Let's name the children after him so they'd be better. So it just continues. It's
Should
why
have
we
named him
have
Smith. No one named Smith.
No, never. It's like it's King Smith. Are you sure? Oh, fuck.
yeah, no. So it's why we end up with 5 Aegons in the timeline.
Yeah, multiple Aegons. Some of them are a bit more original.
You say
Yeah.
Aegon and like 5 people stand up. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, 5. Yeah. Well, and that's only counting crowned Aegons. We're not talking about uncrowned Aegons because then the list will just go longer. Like, we got like a bunch of Aegons, like at least 2 Viseryses, 2 Jaehaerys, not counting Aegon the second son Jaehaerys. If he was crowned, we'd have 3. But limiting it to numbered only names, we got like a bunch of Aegon, Jaehaerys, and now I'm even forgetting Aegon, Jaehaerys, Viserys. Yeah, just those names repeat. Darren. Oh wait, we got a bunch of Darrens. We got a Darren here.
Oh,
We're gonna have a Darren the second.
absolutely.
And we got Darren the young dragon. Man, we got a bunch of Darrens.
No, that's absolutely true, and that's historical. There's a level of historical accuracy to that as well, but it can be a little overwhelming when everybody has the same name or similar names.
Yeah,
it's like Tywin and Tyrion. Are you kidding me? Anyway. Or it's like with the North, it's like it's all the Brandon Starks.
But the name of the Bran the Builder, it's like legendary name.
Well, what about Bran the Broken? Shut up. Anyway. I hate the ending of that show. Anyway, sorry. Ao, do you have any interest in watching House of the Dragon after hearing us talk about it? Because we're like Draco and I are ripping on it pretty hard. But speaking for myself, I think it's still definitely worth watching. There's a lot I like.
I've heard a lot of good stuff about it. I've listened to people talk about it. I'd probably check it out. I don't have the service that has it.
Oh, you don't have like Prime or HBO?
Yeah, I don't have that. So
I own them both on DVD. Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
No, I think that's a good way to go too.
I mean, if you like Matt Smith, you'll like the show.
Yeah,
I'll check it out eventually. I just haven't gotten around to it.
I love when they take a doctor from Doctor Who and they make him play a bad guy. It's always good. It's always like David Tennant as the Purple Man. Yeah. Oh, also that being said, Damon Targaryen, he is one of George's favorite characters in all of his creation.
Yeah.
He's a rogue and he's interesting and dangerous and fun and true. They kind of do like they do a couple things to damage his reputation and character in the first season, which seems unnecessary because he's already a pretty gray character. They turn him pretty straight villainous in whole portions of season 1 and a lot in season 2. Which is
I think they did Damon dirty in season 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you want to know what they like removed from season 2 from the books? It was actually Damon who actually defeated the Brackens. Like, there was the battle at Stonehenge, which is the seat of House Bracken, which Damon led. But Damon was the one who brought them to heel. Oh, he didn't get to do that in the show. He was stuck at Harrenhal the entire time. And they didn't let him do nothing. Like, okay, maybe they were saving on dragon budget, but they could have found a different way and maybe say Damon didn't want to use his dragon because he didn't want to burn the Brackens. He wanted to feed them. But no, he left it all to the Blackwoods to deal with instead of like showing his military prowess. Because we only got to see like a bit of that in season 1 on the Stepstones. But we didn't get to see it in the Riverland. They just had him go through this whole character thing, which I don't think was conducive to him at all.
Also, I do have a question, Draco, for you.
Mm-hmm.
So which house were you more aligned with in the story, both in the book and then in the show?
Wait, which house are we talking about?
Like the greens and the blacks. Like,
okay.
Also, Dragon in Gibbs. Thanks, Bill. Thank you for that.
Yes. Let's see. Well, for the book, man, I'm not really strong on either house, really, because like, man, they both get just straight up monstrous by the end.
Oh yeah, there are no good guys.
No,
I
there is
do
none.
tend to lean more black.
Yeah, especially like in the books, I can see more leaning the black because they've got the whole claim, and there's not. And while Rhaenyra is enforcing her claim to the throne, she does seem a bit more proactive in the book. She's much more proactive in the book. So from that perspective, I can see like I want the blacks to win, and because mostly because it seems like there's just a lot of stuff that the blacks do have. They got Damon, they've got the Velaryons, and there's nothing that says Rhaenyra can't rule. And there's a lot of effects like what she's been through, and she's willing to play the game.
Yeah, and you know the main reason I didn't think it took me a couple read throughs and rocking the show more than once to kind of come to the conclusion, but I think it's partially because of how the children are. Like the children on the side of Rhaenyra and the blacks are they're a better next generation than those on the greens by a lot.
Like, like they could be good, and there's no definitive proof that they're illegitimate. They're proper. Like there's nothing that should stop them from taking the throne outside of treachery. As for the show,
it's very obvious that they are strong boys.
Not so in the books, more in the show.
It's a little more ambiguous, though. Yeah, I did still like lean towards them being strong because of the actions of other characters, but
yeah, but there is some evidence out there that like they may not be. Now for the show, especially after watching season 2, I'm actually more aligned with the Greens. Mainly because in the show, it's obvious Rhaenyra's kids are bastards. Like it's just too obvious.
It's really very, very obvious that they're illegitimate.
It's like Rhaenyra does not even try. Like she's just asserting the fact that she's going to rule because Viserys says so, and she does nothing to back up her claim. Because in the book, Viserys is the one that banishes her to Dragonstone after the Eye incident with Aemon, and that was mostly trying to keep the peace badly. Rhaenyra leaves in season 1 just to like get out of there and doesn't even fight for a spot. She just thinks, oh, it's going to be owed, and she doesn't seem like willing to play the Game of Thrones. She doesn't execute Vaemon or order it. Damon has to push her to get rid of Laenor so they can get married. She's much more driven by her impulses, and even with her good kids, they're
also
in
the books. If I'm not mistaken, in the books, it's a rumor that her husband is homosexual, but it's not confirmed. As far as my memory serves,
I don't believe it's confirmed either. But it's much more obvious considering who he hangs out with. That's just put out there.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not like super confirmed, but it's like it's such an open.
It's not much of a logical leap to assume. Like I can't really knock the show on that one.
Yeah. So I can't, but in the book, at least Rhaenyra is trying, and it's entirely possible that those kids are indeed Laenor's. Because like Rhaenys has black hair because she's Baratheon, because she's partly Baratheon, but in the show they just remove all ambiguity. So
you know another problem that comes up with that, because if the not the Targaryens, but the other house, the Velaryon. The Velaryons having black skin in the show takes away a lot of ambiguity in the story. It's like, these very non-dark skinned children are not yours. It's very clear.
But in the show, I'm leaning more towards green, especially after season 2, and I think a lot of it has to do with Aegon himself. Because
Aegon is
Aegon, I think there's a lot of it's not a personality. Like I see, I can see a bit of myself in Aegon, like not a lot of his impulses, but what he's been through. with his
Oh, I thought
family
you were going to say
situation.
that. So you also married your sister, or you mean something?
No.
Sorry,
No.
that's cruel.
No, it's just how he grew up. Aside, like sans incest, of course, but just his relationship with Alicent and him questioning if Alicent even actually loves him. Like, yeah, I feel for that. And frankly, considering
Having a
Rhaenyra-
load of expectation and not enough love, kind of thing.
yeah, something like that. And considering Rhaenyra's own actions and her unwillingness to play the Game of Thrones and relying a lot on Viserys' protection and Damon's actions, now I think the Greens were going to be better suited to rule. Rhaenyra does not seem to have the impulse control. Neither does Aegon, but
Rhaenyra doesn't, but their children do. Their children are much better than the children on the green side. Because
right.
you got to think legacy, next generation. All the green children are a mess. Even the ones that aren't monsters are kind of useless.
True.
Like the daughter, what was her name again? Alicent's daughter?
Helena.
She's an interesting character, but she's nowhere near what would be required of a proper queen.
No. The problem is Rhaenyra's kids are all bastards, and that just causes a bunch of problems. Because if bastards can just inherit the throne like that, then what's that going to say to the other lords? Can their bastard children now take the spots? And it's going to lead to a lot of problems. And we see what happens when bastards are given legitimacy and are pushed up with a claim. We get the Blackfire rebellions. 5 different rebellions, all because
there's a lot that led to that, but that was definitely part of it.
That was a big reason, though.
That mother lover legitimizing all of his children. He might be the worst. I don't know. I don't think he's the most monstrous, but he might be the worst Targaryen.
There's a lot of competition for that. There's a lot of competition.
Yeah, but there are others that are more cruel who did worse things overall, but the effects of what he did might be the worst of the entire show. Like, we can be honest.
Granted, but then I would argue Viserys is also one of the worst, considering his actions led to the dance in the first place.
Yeah.
And the ripple effect from that caused a bunch of problems for the Targaryen dynasty down the line.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Bill, I've never read the books or watched the show, but I do have to ask: do Velaryon fathers stick around? Kind of. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, but overall though,
I'll be back with the milk soon, son.
Yeah, I'm much more aligned with Team Green in the show for a lot of legal reasons and Aegon's character himself. I mean, he's not a good person, but it's like, man, if you had a better environment around you, you might have made a good king, like a decent one, not the best.
That's the sense you get from some of the children that we see in all the writing of George. Some of them could have been really good if they had a better environment, and some, like Joffrey, for example, maybe never. Maybe like some of the children are like, I don't think you were ever going to be him, whoever him is. I don't think you were going to be him. It's like it's kind of interesting too how there's parallel characters, and the show goes out of its way to do it even more than the books do. Like with Aemond and Damon Targaryen, they both are they're both the younger brother. They both are the more capable in many respects, more vicious, and responsible for more death than most of their compatriots. And obviously, you and I know what's going to happen season 3.
Yeah.
I do look forward to that. If they do it well, that's going to be.
We'll see.
Chef's kiss if they do it right.
There's one thing they're never going to be able to do well, but we can get to that part when we're in later season 2. Trust me, I've got a whole thing to say about that.
And that being said, I forgot about the yes queen moments, especially towards the end. Yeah, no, having Rhaenyra go secretly visit Alicent in the way that she did in the show, and then that was stupid. It was handled much better in the book. It doesn't make any sense. It's too much. It's such a risk, and it doesn't really fall in line with how the characters are acting in most of the story as well.
No.
And so there's that. Then there's Rhaenys she has her moment kind of like that was the end of towards the end of season 1, right?
Yeah, that moment in the dragon pit, that was stupid.
That was maybe the stupidest thing that was done or changed that was made in season 1, in my opinion. It's not like it wasn't cool. Yes.
Yeah.
Did it make any sense whatsoever? Absolutely not.
Yep, just like the Holdo maneuver. Pretty to look at, makes no sense.
Yep.
Agreed.
Speaking of which, we've been joined by the hedge. It's a big, beautiful hedge. It doesn't represent a man's bush or nothing, but he's here.
Yeah, don't. I'm not able to do Jordan B. Peterson right now.
What's a hedge knight doing here?
Yeah, we have a big, beautiful hedge knight. How are you doing, Herman? How the hell are you, buddy?
Well, I'm coughing and spitting blood, but outside of that, everything's peaches.
I am so happy for you. I'm sorry, brother. That sucks.
Yeah.
Well,
wait. Was he joking or not? I couldn't tell.
Absolutely not joking. We don't joke. Yeah, no.
I'm sorry.
Just thought I'd pop in and say hi.
I appreciate it, man. I pray about you a lot. I hope that you're able to recover here soon. I know it's been a lot of repeated medical traumas and situations.
This year sucks.
I
will have had, by the time the year is over, I will have had at least 5 surgeries.
Yeah, that I was counting. Yeah, I think I had you at like 3. Isn't that right?
No, it's the first one was the installing a drain into my abdomen to drain my my gallbladder. The second was the gallbladder removal. The third was the gallbladder, the draining the area where the gallbladder was with complications and installing another drain. Number 4,
I was going to say, didn't the drain? I thought the drain had issues. Yeah. That was one of them.
Number 4 was getting a biopsy on my lung, and that was actually a full surgical procedure. They actually snaked down from my mouth into my lungs, all the way down to the bottom of my lungs, and got samples of it, and then withdraw it. It was like I was out for like 45 minutes. And then
thank God they didn't leave you awake for that whole thing. Jeez.
Oh God. Zeus. Well, yeah, there's some of them where they do. And it's like, no way, bro. Nah.
Oh.
No, it's like I have a family friend. He stayed awake for them removing his bone spurs in his foot. Which for him, because he's Norwegian and it keeps growing, it has to be like once every 10 to 12 years. But man, I can't imagine. I'm glad that you're out for now, at least, Edge. That's a great thing, man.
And then the next one will be the removal of the cancer. So,
thank God.
And it's looking like so long as it doesn't spread to the lymph nodes, and I think they're going to jump on this fast, that it will be one of those where they just remove it and I don't have to go through therapy.
Thank God. I'll pray for that result.
There.
Yeah,
absolutely. And guys, one way that we can all help him? Prayer. Another way? Buy his books. They're
yes,
really,
buy
really
my
good.
books.
Yeah, you have is there a release date for the Wizard Stone 2 Electric Boogaloo?
I'm looking at October. So
that would be great, dude. Yeah, because you've been on the sorry, your other books for a little while.
Yeah, no, I've been pushing. I've been like trying to write in the frickin' hospital and right after surgery, and my God, it's been so. But it's already in the hands of beta readers right now. So, and one of them's already done. Another one is about halfway done. And a third one's going to start reading it, but he should have it done before the end of the month. After that, it goes to an editor, and then I got to contact a cover artist. And then at some point, I think I'm going to do a Kickstarter to pay for the audiobook.
Hell yeah, brother.
So, but enough about me. Let's talk about me.
Yeah.
So yes,
Did you see House of the Dragon? And
I've
did you
seen
enjoy
I've
it?
seen snippets of it, and it looks like the old it looks like the first few seasons of Game of Thrones. Yeah.
It's like that, but it's better in some ways because they gave it the time necessary to prepare and the budget that it
And they
needed
didn't
from the
have
very start.
and they didn't have Dan and Dave on it.
That too. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Oh.
George R.R. Martin wanted like 11 season of Game of Thrones because he felt that's how long it would take to get it to where it needed to be, and because those two doorknobs decided that they wanted to jump to Star Wars. They don't even get me started.
That didn't work out for them.
But yeah, I mean the effects look good. I mean the story's good. And then the Hedge Knight one that's coming out apparently is really good too. So I think they're taking it seriously this time. They got good actors, and that's usually a good indicator that they're trying to do it right, and they're following, I think, a lot of the lore as far as I remember it.
Yeah, the Draco and I were discussing. They've made some changes, but nothing egregious like what we saw with some of the.
Well, not in season 1.
Yeah, and season 1 was much closer to the source material as far as an adaptation is concerned.
Season 2, they did do something egregious, but we'll get to that.
So, but yeah, and I wouldn't say I'm a fan of George R.R. Martin stuff, but he is a good author, and he knows how to write books.
Yeah.
And I think this one, the whole focusing on, I'm like in Space Zone right now, but the whole focusing on just the Civil War between the Velaryon, I can't even pronounce their names, between the ruling families. I think he was able to contain himself to go from start pretty much to finish, which is unlike Game of Thrones, where
which is spread out
spread out, and and a few other things. But
yeah, no, and did you ever read Fire and Blood, Herman?
I've started reading it, but I haven't finished it. So
it's a little dry if you're not used to reading things like that. It reads a bit more like an uncertain history book, and because it's written from the 3 different authors, historians who were around at the time, or recorders, and some are more reliable than others. So there's a lot more speculation in that way. I do quite enjoy the book myself, just because even though I don't like all of his writing choices, I think he made a really rich and interesting world.
That's the thing about Martin, is he is a fantastic world builder.
Absolutely. And
I mean,
he's almost like Tolkien, but you don't their worlds are so different, people don't often make the comparison. But the level of detail and the way history works is very much Tolkien-esque.
And his willingness to pull in lots of different sources. I mean, in there you got H.P. Lovecraft. You do have
Michael Moorcock.
Moorcock. You've got Robert E. Howard. There's the Tolkien influences. It's all of those things in there that he's able to pull in and make his own. And I mean the history and all the stuff around Essos is actually way more interesting than stuff in Westeros, as far as I'm concerned. But
yeah, and some of his lore writing feels more like some of the early journals of Europeans trying to discover and travel through the Congo. It's just this unknown land. They describe creatures, but they don't know what they are, and it's just the exploration of the dark continent is really fascinating historically, especially how it was written about and how eventually it became the subject of a lot of adventure novels. I'm sure you
Yeah.
probably saw your share of those when you were younger, at least at some point.
And that's the beauty. That is really the beauty of his writing, and I think tactically his writing is also very good. I mean, some people say it is often redundant because he uses redundant phrases, but it has a certain grace to it, and it's very sort of folksy.
Yeah.
And
there is it's not beautiful in the way that like someone like Tolkien, I'm gonna keep bringing him up because I compare the two a lot, but it does rhyme. It does have rhyme to the way that he layers his symbolism and his phraseology. Even simple things like, oh, I'm gonna break my fast. I'm like, that is how that came about. That is what it means. That's a really it's a slight alteration to a common phrase that makes it much more interesting.
So,
and actually, you do that quite a bit in your books too, in my opinion.
Yeah, I try. And to answer Draco's question, I'll announce it here. The book is going to be named A Font of Evil Things.
Based.
Yes.
So.
Oh, wait. We have a clip for that. We have a clip.
Based.
I did. I remember recording that for you. You're like, Kahuna. I'm like, yeah. Can you just say based with your like bass and echo turn on? I'm like, absolutely. I can absolutely do that.
Yes. I will do this thing for you, sir. My brother. I will do this.
Come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding.
Oh, wait.
I will do this thing.
You come to me on the day of my daughter is to be wedded.
Dang, that's good animation. That was a good one.
You're all missing the cat.
Yeah.
I don't keep devil.
The cat is in the other room that keeps clawing at me. I don't want to deal with that.
Look at what they did to my boy.
Look at what they did. They messed it to my boy.
Oh Christ Almighty! No, it's fun. It's always fun. It's like with the kids. It's like they asked me at one point, like, did dogs go to heaven? I'm like, I don't think so, but if they do, cats definitely don't. Just letting you know now. But Bill, welcome to the show, my friend. Have you read the book and did you have you seen season 2, my friend?
I have not.
That's
honestly
absolutely fine.
George R.R. Martin's lack of work ethic really makes me not want to read any of his stuff. The only thing I'm interested in, for the most part, is the Hedge Knight books, because I caught that while AC was streaming it in the Discord a while back, and I was like, huh, this is actually pretty badass.
It's actually heroic. What a wild concept, George.
Holy crap, George, the hero a likable guy.
That's probably the other reason.
The hero doesn't like fondle children or something. Like thank Christ.
Yeah, that's probably the reason why he was able to finish.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, double.
Careful with let's watch our phrasing.
Yeah, phrasing. But no, the book reads like
yes, thank you,
like
thank Mega Buster Shepherd 5537. All right, that name is wild.
but like no, the book.
Oh,
reads
I
like,
know Shepherd. Shepherd is good.
Oh, sweet.
Real quick on the topic of books. The Hedge is probably gonna need the funds, so go buy his books.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Buy
your
them.
Revenant series. I posted
I work in IT. I can find your address by reversing the IP address, hacking the mainframe. I will find you.
Why do we have that banner, AC?
For this reason.
Okay.
Now that I see the Reverend books, I'm like, oh wait, that's Herman. I know that guy on Twitter. I just never heard his voice, so I didn't recognize him. You just call him the Hedge.
You recognize the slurs, but not the man.
Slur, I think I pronounced it quite clearly.
I have to do a hell of a Jordan Peterson, but it ain't going to be today.
Not today, but
how you feeling, dude?
Actually, I was up and around the procedure. Doesn't hurt at all. But you end up spitting like little, bits of blood, and so that's kind of that isn't fun.
As
But-
Evelyn would say, kind of a downer. Kind of a downer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not kind of fun, but
Just
you get
make
the
sure to
opportunity, you
make
could
your
freak
room and
someone out.
stuff. You know.
Damn it! I wish I could do that.
I know. Well, we'll save you a spot for when you're ready. Well, it's funny. You look back on some of our older streams. We've had him hop in as Jordan Peterson just for the bit, and it was fantastic. Oh, but yeah, no. There's a lot of upcoming projects we're celebrating. Herman has a font of evil. Is that what you said exactly?
A font of evil things.
A font of
So,
evil
now,
things.
the word font is used in the old term, but it's also a play on words. So a font is being like a reservoir.
Oh,
Okay.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Like a fountain. Yeah, like a fountain.
Yeah, because like ink
Yep,
and stuff.
yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Also, I did post a link. I posted a link for the Revenant and the
Ring can ring, right?
Yeah,
Well,
if you haven't read anything by him, read that first. If you dig that, buy the rest. It's
And-
all high quality. He's been compared to Joe Abercrombie as far as style, the way his prose in particular. Definitely less pessimistic, but
And Draco and Bill, if you guys got links, toss them in the private chat. We'll make it into the. We'll toss it in
And
the-
nobody's marrying their
in the
sister
thing. Yeah, that's good.
I mean,
or their mom.
never
dang
say
it.
never. No.
Yeah, never say.
Yeah,
never,
I try to
brother.
keep the incest out of the mainstream stuff I write. I just refer to the stuff that I put on those shady websites.
Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't
Like
approached
a respectable
incest yet.
person.
Incest is one topic I don't know. I haven't felt the need to like write it yet.
It's just icky.
Yeah.
It's like it kind of depends. It's like one of those things where you think about all of these. Okay, yeah, there you go, Draco. I'll copy that. You can acknowledge it exists. It's like you don't have to have a whole Smex scene in a book.
Right.
You can imply a lot. Just
I will say this.
Yeah.
I will
Don't
say
leave it
this.
in the book. Hide it behind the Patreon paywall.
There
Thank
you go,
Bill.
Bill. Bill, leave it to McCuston. He knows. So what was I gonna say? No, okay. So I will say this though: if you're gonna do something like that, and you like have it in a scene where there's a little boy that gets pushed out a window, like in the case of George R.R. Martin, I will say, I don't know if he did this intentionally. He does do a lot of symbolism, right? And but there's also the story. There's also the story in the Bible where a little boy falls out of a window and Jesus like brings him back from the dead, right? So there's a lot of symbolism and foreshadowing you can kind of do around this. It has nothing to do with the incest, but it provided an inciting incident at least.
Inciting
Right?
incest. Okay.
Well, and they're kind of like symbolic of how the kingdom is in that scene. Like it's become this corrupt, incestuous, secret, like demonic thing. But I digress. How far did you guys get with the House of the Dragon talk? I had to step away and help my wife check for ticks. She's been doing
So
yard
far, we're
work.
still in like the early episodes, and
we've talked about we've talked about some broader stuff overall. How season 2 is not it shows some of the cooler things that happen in the story, but it's a less faithful adaptation than some of the arguably season 1 was, at least in our opinion.
Yeah.
So my big question. Has the Doctor busted out his TARDIS yet?
No.
Okay, then
Just keep that in mind.
All right.
Yeah. Also, because at some point I'm gonna show off John A. Douglas's new cover for his upcoming story too, which I am reading and is quite good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, talking more about the House of the Dragon here. What is it? Sorry.
Oh, I actually have a thing here. We have I have all the episodes. So like, okay, I don't know where you guys were at, but I'll just list them all quick. That'll get that out of the way here. Episode 1, A Son for a Son. Episode 2, Rhaenyra the Cruel. Episode 3, The Burning Mill. Episode 4, The Red Dragon and the Gold. Episode 5, Regent. Episode 6, Small Folk. Episode 7, The Red Sowing. Badass, really freaking metal name. Holy shit. Episode 8, The Queen Who Ever Was. Kind of the opposite of the previous name, I'll say, but yeah, that's where we're at. 8 episodes.
One name, very excellent. The other name also exists.
Those
Yes,
2
we're-
episodes are the duality of this season. It's like, holy crap, that was epic, and then the next thing happens, and you're like,
It's
what?
like,
What
what
the
are we
hell?
watching, man?
Yeah, what is?
Yeah, the last episode has something blood curdling inducing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's interesting how again, like we were mentioning, you're going to have to fill out some details on a show like this. Like you can't keep all the ambiguity, but I do think they could have kept more of it. I think if they kept more, like, because they definitely, like Draco mentioned in the book, I lean more black, obviously, but
Yeah.
and I do in the show because the kids aren't monsters. But a lot of people, including Draco, lean more team green after watching the the context of the show.
Yeah.
I love
Well,
anyone who's going to clip that and hear it out of context.
I lean more black.
I lean more black myself, but
And then I'll find the perfect like reaction of from Draco and make it look like, I'll just like do a nice short, back and forth, like a little skit. No, no, but it's interesting what he did here with the 2 sides, the greens and the blacks. Is like the blacks they have like this cool factor,
they do, they definitely do.
You got Damon, they're pretty badass. It's like, yeah, her dad wanted this kind of thing. But then you got the greens who literally, when you look at it in black and white
in the show,
on
they
paper,
have the more legitimate claim.
they are legitimate. Yeah, they're literally legitimate. So, so there you have it, right? It's just interesting.
Like legally, based on the Great Council of 101 and Andal succession laws, Aegon is the rightful heir to the throne.
Yes, sir.
Is he the better? No.
Not
even arguably. Just simply no, he is not.
But that's the way it is. That's the way it is, right?
This is what it is.
And
Rhaenyra's also not fit for the throne, but
yeah.
No, but her kid. I'd rather her kids inherit than any of the children we saw on the green side of.
I agree with that. It's just if in the show, if they weren't bastards, I'd agree with you. But it's like they take the throne, it just causes it's such a bad precedent.
Again, like Drake and I mentioned this earlier, making the Velaryons have really dark skin in the show really messes with the fact that, like, in the book, it's a legitimate question whether the children on the black side of the fence are bastards or not. But in the show, it's like obviously not.
In the show, when a mulatto comes walking out onto the stage, it's like I don't know. I think the lineage is kind of obvious.
I think it's pretty set. Yeah, I think it's pretty set. Yeah. And we won't even get into the obvious things like that, where, like, I think we touched on that with our last review, like with some of the changes with, like, swapping the skin color of the Velaryons. There's actual canon art and stuff like that. There's these obvious things that people have talked about over and over again with this show. So we'll just stick with the other things just for the sake of, like, not getting bogged down by anything. We'll stick to, like, story and all that.
Yeah.
Unless you guys want to talk about one of those.
Is AC holding a baby animation overload dragon in his mouth?
I hope so. Sorry, I didn't notice that. Oh my gosh.
It is now.
He has the helmet.
That's
adorable. Yeah.
There is something I do want to get to in season 2 itself. I'm just waiting for the right time because, oh boy, that's a rant.
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
Go for it now. Oh, go for it now.
My body is ready.
So there is something they did. They did something egregious when they deviated from the book here in season 2. And I'm not talking about Damon and this whole Weirwood stuff.
They could have cut most of that. That did not all have to be there.
Yeah, but the worst thing that has been done is at the very end of episode 8. I believe, what was her name? Rhaena Targaryen, one of Damon's kids with Lena. She's in the she got sent to the Vale to take care of Aegon the Younger and Viserys. But she goes out into the Vale and she finds a dragon to ride, and it's Sheep Stealer. Now, for those not in the know, in the books, Sheep Stealer is the dragon of a character named Nettles. Nettles is an actual canon black character in the series.
Yep.
And two is very and is possibly not a Targaryen dragon seed. Like maybe not, but it's completely unclear. But the fact is, she rides the dragon. She's important to Damon's story, and then by the end, she's flies off from Westeros after.
So she actually survives. Yeah, she's really important.
No, there have been a few instances where royal Targaryens or Velaryons have left and created like there's a whole line of I have children here of women who do things for money of an illicit nature.
Yes,
in Lease and some of the free cities.
It's just
because of
because
of some of the historical.
So she's a housekeeper. Okay.
Lesser daughters, so to say.
Yeah.
Just like with Nettles, it's ambiguous. She's possibly has no Targaryen blood at all, but she managed to tame a dragon.
And it says in Kahuna could probably find, I don't know where it is. I could find that for you, Kahuna, if we want the exact words here. But there's a page in Fire and Blood that explains Damon's relationship with Nettles. It says something along the lines of like he doted on her like a daughter. So it doesn't even need to be like a romantic relationship. It just could be she, for lack of a better term, could have been some sort of apprentice for him. And I guess I'm not discounting them still including her because of all the flack that they've caught so far. If I was them, I would now try to include Nettles in this season. If I was them.
Yeah, but the thing is because I remember hearing about this. The thing is she's one of the more interesting characters in the books, and I think with the writers, the writers didn't know what to do with her, and so they just basically axed her, and it's like
which causes problems for Damon's storyline, and it causes problems because here's the thing: Rhaena has a dragon in the story that's born after the war. It's mourning. It's a pink dragon.
Yeah, it's a cool dragon. It's like the only one of like that description that we ever get.
Pink. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and it's basically mourning. Rhaena's got mourning. Baela's got moon dancer. You got the day and night kind of thing, and now that's gone. So not only did you completely change all the Velaryons to have dark skin, you got rid of the only dark skinned character in the narrative to have Baela do
inclusion, guys. Get rid of her.
It's like.
It's kind of like how you hear who they cast as like the Brown Knight in
it's the Brown Shield.
Oh, it's like one of those moves.
I cannot believe they made. I cannot believe. I could not write this. If I wrote this down, like, hey, they're going to do this, people are like, no, that's too far. Like, that's not even funny. Why would you say
Let's
that?
take these black people over here and move them over here.
Exactly.
I think I missed something. What?
Bill, just to
like,
summarize
that's a Power Rangers level thing. It's like, the Black Ranger, obviously black. I'm like, wait.
That was more of that was more coincidence than anything else. But here's the thing:
the Asian Ranger was yellow too. So
and Bill, to catch you up really quick, what happened is the showrunners for House of the Dragon said we need to care about race for some reason, so we're going to take these canonical light-skinned Velaryons and make them darker skinned, and then we need to care about race no longer because we did that, and so we're going to delete this actual real character that's canonically darker skinned, who is really cool and actually tames a wild dragon and lives. We're going to delete this character who's actually dark skinned.
And we're going to Faramir here too.
Yeah.
So basically we're race swapping a bunch of people, and then the character who's actually there.
It wasn't race swapping, it was race shuffling, really.
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this causes
deleting the actual dark-skinned one. It's like, what are you guys doing, dude?
And that's only like one part of the problem. The other part of the problem is like now you've got Rhaena with a combat level ready dragon, which means she's got to be involved more in the war, which she wasn't. And two, you're going to have to explain what's going to happen because now certain scenes can't happen, like Damon getting that letter, possibly from Rhaenyra, telling him to kill Nettles, and him going to lead to the duel with Aemon, and Nettles defecting and leaving Westeros. So now that can't happen, and it also causes another problem because
they're probably going to give that to one of his, that scene to one of his daughters. That's probably what they're going to do. It's what
that's going to be. See, there's still going to be a problem too, because if Rhaenyra has to leave Westeros, that means she cannot be there during the Regency where she introduces Aegon III's second wife.
Dude, this is why he's the Maester, guys. This is why he just connected it right off the bat. So yeah, the fact that she survives, that's a problem too. Like, there's so many implications. That's why I'm saying they're better off just like cutting their losses and literally shoehorning her in somewhere in this season. They have to.
Yeah, it's going to cause a bunch of ripple effects, like removing Maelord, the third kid of Aegon and Helena, which they didn't have, which completely changed the blood and cheese scene in episode 1. We got a very tamed, very cut down version compared to the books, where it was this whole
it's rough in the book.
With the kids. It's like,
also they speaking of Damon defamation, basically they like Drake and I mentioned in the earlier part of the stream, they made him much more villainous, as well as making a lot of the female characters more virtuous, and it's very typical Hollywood stuff, modern. But they also they made him a bad father. He already has a lot of character flaws. We didn't have to pile it all on there. It's it's implied that he was a good father when he was around. He just wasn't always around.
That's true.
Yeah.
He dotes on Nettles
that's the problem, though. He's the father. We gotta worsen him up a bit because reasons.
Allegedly Damon also did order the kids to be killed in the book. We don't know if Blood and Cheese were acting rogue with that mind game stuff, or they were under orders from Damon or Mysaria.
Oh, the show leaves no doubt at all.
Yeah,
they kind of do, since they don't explicitly have Damon say, if you can't find Aemon, kill Harris. So they kind of leave that, but I know what the show is trying to do. They're trying to put Damon ordered the death of a child.
Yeah, that would be brutal.
And they made Rhaenyra completely absolved her, when in the book she's we don't her response in the book, but it's not made clear that she completely denounced it. She just may have approved it, may have given the order, if not clear, but she wasn't against it like she is in the show.
Well, yeah, because she has to be more virtuous.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the general problem. They do the whole Hollywood thing. It's not as egregious as some other films, some other shows, but it's definitely there. It's definitely something we can't just ignore, especially in a longer length discussion like this, talking about all of this. But how did we feel about the battle scenes? Because there are a fair few more battle scenes. I think some of the things don't make as much sense.
Visually though, mm-hmm.
I like a lot of the dragon stuff. I do think some of the ground battle stuff isn't as good in this show as, say, peak Game of Thrones. I will say that their ground game doesn't really hold up as much to Game of Thrones. In my
there's no Blackwater yet.
Yeah, there's no Blackwater. There's no season 6 Hardhold or whatever. What was that called? The one good episode of season 6. Where John fights the others to help save a bunch of wildlings. Do we remember what that episode is called?
Yeah, I remember that one.
That episode, none of that was in the books, and that was one of the best episodes of the show ever had. Period. It was very, very
well. Part of the problem is that a lot of when you're doing an adaptation, you have to scale back a bunch of characters, and then you kind of have
characters,
combine them, and you have to kind of pick and choose. You have to pick and choose your battles. But the problem is that sometimes they pick the wrong freaking characters,
Nettles.
Yeah, Nettles, like I said, Nettles, I'm going, man, that's actually that would be that would be a great storyline that you could throw in. It has a lot of applicability, and if you wanted to, you'd have her in the war, for like a couple of battles and kind of like skip the book on that, and then you'd have enough, you'd still have enough reason to have her kind of like float off and survive and float off.
She's basically
leave some ambiguous hope in a series that's as dark as this one is.
She's quite literally one of the most interesting characters in Fire and Blood. There's a bunch of mystery around her. Like who is she? Right? Like what makes her so special? There's a lot of implications there that are so strange. She tames a wild dragon. She survives. What does she talk to Damon about? It seems to be magic related. Like, why does he dote on her like a daughter? Everything points towards they had a romantic relationship, yet that one line strictly makes it sound platonic, which means that, and if it all sounds magical, that implies Damon either learned about or taught her or discovered together with her some more like deeper magic stuff with the world, which makes her really interesting. Why did you guys delete her? She survives. It's so stupid.
And that gets to the other problem, which is modern writing, which feels it needs to explain everything. And sometimes you don't, like at the end of, if you think about Star Wars at the end, did you really know what the Force was? No, nobody knew it.
We are told aspects of how it operates, but we don't know what the Force is. And like using examples of writing from people here in AC's book, it's block full of mystery, and it makes sense because the concept of AC's world is that it is eternally in a state of either deconstruction or reconstruction, because the world is constantly going through some cataclysm or approaching some cataclysm at all times. And so the world has to be rebuilt. So there's a lot of mystery and things that aren't explained, and because frankly, they're not known. Herman, same thing in Herman's books. Like it's explained how magic, I'll take the Wizard Stone. It's explained to a degree how magic works and some of the applications of it. But partially because of our POV character, there's a lot we don't really know. He's kind of bumbling through it most of the time whenever he uses it anyway. And part of that is a lack of knowledge. Part of that is a confidence issue. But yeah, it's like we don't need to know it. We don't need to know every hard detail. Leave a little bit of mystery. It's like, you know what, like an example of them doing this in the show properly. It's like, because they didn't spell everything out in season 1, when Damon helped his brother walk up and take his seat on the Iron Throne in episode 9 or whatever it was in season 1.
That was 8.
That was maybe the peak of the show total in totality, right there. And it's because you didn't know how he was going to act when he came back. Was he going to try to take the throne from his brother? Was he going to fight him or cause a problem? Because he's always that dangerous, roguish character.
Those moments.
Does that because it's not over-explained. And that actually had meaning, because you really, if you didn't read the books, you really had no idea if he was going to be the monster that you assumed he might become.
And Kahuna, I think you really highlighted something there. That is what modern adapters with modern writing and these modern big AAA companies need to try. That's where they need to capture these unique moments and leave their own personal mark on it, right? I know it's going to be really hard for the writer and the director and everybody involved, because the actor is going to look like they get a lot of credit, and they should, because they're brilliant.
A lot of there's very few poor actors, if any, in the show, which is remarkable on a show with that is this large. The actor who plays Allison's father, the Hand of the King, or what, I can't remember his name.
Oh, Otto Hightower?
Yeah, Hightower. Yeah. Otto is that good. Actor is real. They're all really good, but I don't think he gets enough attention. He plays that slightly ambiguous, Littlefinger and Tywin a little bit in the way that he acts, but not cool, but still his own character. And the actor carries a lot of that role, especially in season 1.
That's what they need to chase, in my opinion, is those unique moments.
I'm going to check out just for a minute, guys. I got to get the kiddos in bed, but absolutely keep talking. In case anyone has to go, goodbye. I appreciate it. But either way, I'll be back in just a few minutes. Bye.
Sweet.
But yeah, if they dialed back the interpretation stuff and focused on delivering the nuance of famous moments that people are going to be looking for, because that scene that Kahuna brought up with Damon helping his brother onto the throne, you can't really get that in the Fire and Blood book just because of the nature of how it's told. And I'm trying to think of like other like adaptations too. You could get the similar sort of like masterful, inventive details without fundamentally changing the work, right? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think?
Like in that same episode with Vayman, because there's other Velaryons there. There's like 5 others who join him, and Viserys has their tongues cut out for questioning the legitimacy and such. I know they had to seal it on the show to just Vayman getting killed because that was a big element. But you still got that whole thing across with just him.
Yeah. I think there's a way to like Lord of the Rings, right? There's the way it's described in the book, and then you can have that exact same thing as a framework for how literally everybody involved with the movie interprets it. So, but the core thing is having that source material as the actual framework instead of changing the framework and then building off of that. That's the problem, is they always change the scaffolding.
Yeah.
Like, if you start with the scene where Frodo is supposed to throw it in the freaking lava and then he doesn't, and then like the cinematographer can start interpreting that. The actors can start interpreting that. The writers, like everybody involved, but they're all deferring to that scaffolding. That's the important thing. And I think that's what they did in that scene. Like, okay, we know this happens. And then they had room to breathe because of how Fire and Blood is. But yeah, I mean, that's a good example where they knocked it out of the park. I think some of the dragon battles do the same thing, where it's fantastic with the dragon battles.
Even though they changed a lot of the context for that dragon battle. Like the one at Rook's Rest in episode 4, where it's Aegon just going off half-cocked, like trying to prove himself. And then you got Aemon trying to kill him. That, like, Aemon and Aegon were actual, like, bros. Like, despite their differences, they were still on the same team. House of the Green Faction is much more fractious in the show. Oh, and how Aemon is, like, now, like, much more villainly portrayed and, like, just trying to, like, take the throne for himself because he doesn't like Aegon, and Aegon just mistreats him. It's like, I did not care for that change in the slightest. I think that's just a bit much to show how much Team Green is bad and wrong.
Yeah,
like that's a bit too heavy-handed. But they're trying to set that up for some storyline in season 3. I don't know, but I don't much care for that change character-wise.
I think the best takeaway. It's a hard choice because, like what you just said, like George painted the rightful claim as very morally corrupt. You know, like the Greens are pretty messed up in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
But because they are technically the actual rightful ones, when you look at everything,
Mm-hmm.
I think the Bible says it best when you say render unto Caesar, right? So just like rip the Band-Aid off, move on. They're in charge, move on. It's not like, it doesn't matter in the scheme of things. And I think, it just ended up being like a pointless war in George Martin land. But I like where his head is at, showcasing some things. The guy is very anti-war, right?
Yeah.
People can give him credit for that, as there's plenty of things to criticize the guy for, but there's also plenty of strengths. And I have always liked his anti-war aspect, despite how much he seems to accidentally glorify it by making it sound so freaking cool and being so interesting to talk about. But yeah, this is why dudes think about the Roman Empire every day, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that there's some like just elements to this whole war in the Dance of Dragon. It's Rhaenyra says, "I have the rightful claim because the king said so," and you have Team Green saying, "No, we have legal precedent that made Aegon the rightful king," and because of that, it's like you see there are some good justifications why, like, yeah, this war needs to be fought. But overall, it's just a massive disaster. It's just a massive disaster for House Targaryen in the end.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Draco, do you have any dragons in your book?
I do have dragons in my books.
And Herman, do you?
Not yet.
Not yet. Bill, do you?
Not at the moment.
Okay, I have one single dragon. It's in my comic that's coming out, Saga of Sunset. But I have my idea locked down. We can have dragon talk in a little bit here. Let's make a final call on season 2 of House of the Dragon. I am gonna say that because it's uniquely, like, I'd say because of how uniquely difficult it is to like make some of those dragon scenes specifically. You look at like the outfits. I know it catches a lot of flack for like the what is it, the Kingsguard attire. Everybody's comparing the Kingsguard of every show now, which is awesome. I love to see that. It's becoming like a sport. But when you look at everything, I do think they did good with like a lot of the details when you set aside some of the writing choices and things. Like it looks good, you know, the dragon fights are cool, this sort of thing. So I can't say it fails completely and sinks. So I'm gonna say it floats, but you know, not perfect. We can go down the list. Draco, what do you think?
This sinks. It sinks on the ground that it does not act as a proper follow-up up to season 1.
That's fair.
Damon is stuck at Harrenhal all day going through his character arc and doing nothing. They took away the moments he did have in the book, like with the Battle of Stoneheads, which took place right after the Battle of the Burning Mill. Well, you know, to actually push the plot. It doesn't really push up the plot from the show they continue on to set up the future battles. It has some bad character changes and also erasing Nettles, which is going to grievously affect the plot down the line. It causes a bunch of problems more than season 1 did. It's not on its own. It's not really all that good. It just wastes a lot of time. We get some good stuff and some small advancements here and there, but overall, it wastes time. There's a bunch of bad character changes, and erasing Nettles is just like that huge butterfly ripple effect, which is gonna harm the last 2 seasons of the show. It sinks.
I said at the time, and I tagged one of them on Twitter, one of the showrunners or something. I said, this will literally be what destroys the show if you guys literally ignore it. So yeah, I can't disagree with you for sure. When Kahuna comes back, we'll get him to weigh in. Bill, what do you think? Sink or float?
I mean, like I said, I haven't watched House of the Dragon, but
as an outsider, like just based on what you heard,
I mean,
like as like a jury member, right?
As an outsider, I would have to say probably sink, because if it's gonna sit around and waste my time, then I can watch something like The Venture Brothers, which doesn't waste my time at all. Like
that's a very fair logic, yeah.
But it's also
I could just do
cool.
that.
But it doesn't have dragons in the same way this does.
No, Venture Brothers just is about family and brotherhood and making fun of Saturday morning cartoons. Right.
Okay, well that is fair. I was curious to see if you would potentially toss it a float just based on cool dragons and maybe some other details.
Cool,
but, no, that's fair.
Cool can get you only so far. Are there some things that I like just because they're cool? I mean, yeah. But there's more to them than just being cool. That's fair. Like, I'm not.
Some things don't need to be that deep. Pacific Rim is a great example. It's not that deep.
Thank you.
You should just say fighting kaiju. Yeah,
Pacific Rim.
Is Idris Elba going to give one of the best, like, this is the end kind of speeches of all time? Yes. Does it make sense? No. Is Ron Perlman in it for no reason? Absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely, yes. Kahuna, while we got you, what do you think sink or float on season 2?
I gotta say float. If I recommend
Nice.
people watch it, if I'm willing to buy it, it has to be a float.
Yes.
So
See,
it's
two sinks,
less
two
of a
floats.
float than season 1. I say float.
I would agree with that too. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Hedge. If you haven't seen it, based on what you heard as a jury member, what do you say?
Well, I think it floats, but it's treading water.
Yeah.
I think the exclusion of Nettles is I think Draco's right. I think it's problematic, and if they're making those kinds of decisions now, I think it's going to just get. I think you're going to see a degradation in future episodes. So, and they'll end up, at some point season 8ing the whole thing.
I really hope they don't, but they have made progressive steps towards that possibility, which is worrying. That being said, they should only take one more season to wrap up this story. So maybe they can keep it together and not end crappily, or at least
the one thing that I kind of equate that to is like removing the Barrow Downs from Lord of the Rings. That was a great scene. That also brought in those swords, and they probably could have excluded Tom Bombadil from that and still done the Barrow Downs and had their action and been able to do a little bit of continuity, and it would have been a great scary scene.
I would have liked it, but Fellowship is already doing so much.
Yeah,
it is.
It's like the way I explain adaptations is you have what I would call the ideal adaptation. What I would call is the best you can expect out of an adaptation. The best you can expect is Harry Potter. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm saying the best you can expect in that format as an adaptation is probably Harry Potter. Lord of the Rings is better, but that's not what you can't expect Lord of the Rings. You simply can't, because
It's
that's
an
a once
anomaly.
in a lifetime thing. It has never happened before and will never happen again in my
And it's still not perfect. That's the other important thing about Lord of the Rings. It's still not perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, but it would have been a great scene.
The Barrow scene is really quite chilling.
Honestly, they made so much.
Peter Jackson's horror roots, that would have been,
bro. Yeah, and if they made so much money, they could have
scary enough. Yeah,
they could have did little extra scenes after the fact with the money they made, for sure. They could have kept that going. Like, let's do it all. Let's fill in the gaps right now. Since we made so much money, guys, what do you say? You know what I mean? Before everybody dies.
That being said, I watched the entire extended trilogy 4K edition with my kids. The Return of the King is over 4 hours.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
It's not, but my kids have a bedtime bill.
Started at
exceptions can and will be made.
Started at 8.
You start at 8 in the morning, right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Kids, get up! We're watching Return of the King.
It's like I have
here's
to
your cereal.
Get home. It's like my kids
Daddy. We're watching Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
like Frodo gets stabbed and then he gets saved. Spoilers for Lord of the Rings. And then I have to stop it, or I stop and I'm like, what time is it? The boy's like, can we continue? I look down and it's like an hour and a half. I'm like, no.
Quick question.
What? But holy crap.
Before we move on to animation overload's potential tie-inducing answer, was Frodo symbolically dead for 3 days when he got Shelogged?
No.
3 hours?
No.
So the one you're looking for there for the being dead and coming back symbolism is obviously Gandalf. I can't remember how long he was dead in the books, but in the movies I believe it's implied to be like a couple days.
Only a couple days, huh?
Well, like 2 or 3 days.
The movies make it seem like it was a long time spiritually and a short time physically.
But at the same time, the movies do truncate the entire timeline.
Yeah.
Because
it
have
popped
to. We can't spend 30 years in the Shire just
Yeah.
moaning about
Every other
until
scene
the
would be
action
like
happens.
a montage.
Yeah.
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 And also, real quick, Herman brought up another thing. From how everyone else on the panel is describing it, the way they're going about the adaptation makes me wonder just how bad the ripple effect is going to go down, which is another reason why it's like, I kind of don't want to. Because you have some things and like Roadside Picnic versus Stalker. Stalker is nothing like the book at all. Having read the book and seen the movie multiple times for both.
After stalking multiple people himself, Bill has decided
there are like it's
Monkeying
not
around.
the same. Then you have others that make significant changes to the source material, like
The Shining.
I was actually going to say The Chosen.
That too.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good example,
But
actually, too.
it
Yeah.
still works because they're still trying to root it in the philosophy of the work, and they're not actively trying to contradict.
Yeah, they're not
source
The
changing.
Chosen is mostly adding. They're mostly the Chosen mostly
Exactly.
fills in the blanks.
They
It's
are
not-
guilty.
It's not trying to alter the heart of the story. It's like,
Yes.
I'll give another example. Like, we're going biblical. Go with the Prince of Egypt.
Fair.
Is it historically or biblically 100% or even
No.
like right? No. But the heart of who God is, the heart of the story, the meaning, the real driving force of it is all there. And that's why and that's part of why
I'm going to throw one out too, and that's the 13th Warrior. The book and the movie are like only like barely connected.
Yeah.
But I mean,
the movie
they're
definitely
both,
goes for rule of cool factor.
yeah,
Definitely.
but they're both awesome. But
No,
like,
I still need to read that book. I love
read
Frank
the
Capra,
book.
but I have to.
It's one of my it's up there with one of my favorite books.
I'm gonna say this though about The Chosen. Bill is absolutely correct. Yep, it stays true to source material. You can actually say that about The Chosen. It stays true to the source material, but the downside to that is it suffers from what Herman brought up earlier. I don't know what to call it, where they try to explain everything. So like it's true to the source material, but it's almost true. It's true to like a lot of apocryphal source material as well. So you're not just going to get one thing. They added whatever they could, really. I saw a few opportunities where they could have added more, but they try to explain some things.
I guess
They try to, They're like,
they're dramatizing. They're dramatizing it, and that's that
to a
was
degree. I understand why, but there is a danger in doing that.
Yeah, I would say they definitely approached that line a couple times, but I've been enjoying The Chosen. I can't wait to the
really
Passion
good.
is next.
But
the Passion releases this year for The Chosen, so it's going to be interesting.
But yeah, you have stuff like that can manage to do that, make significant changes, or add some stuff and still be compelling, still stay true to the source material. And then you have other things. And I am bringing up a movie that I like, by the way, the new Dune movies. The truncation of the timeline of the second half of part 2 makes no damn sense.
It does not make any
How the flying fuck is Paul Atreides organizing all of the Fremen in only 9 months? That doesn't make it in less than 9 months. That doesn't make any sense. In the book, it took him like 2 years to do that.
Those are because it's a movie, Bill. Christ Almighty!
I do have a question for you guys. What do you say about a adaptation that is good, but it completely disregards the source material?
That would be Dune.
Actually, I have another example: The Running Man.
Yeah.
Love the movie.
Well, which one? The first one or the second one?
The Schwarzenegger one.
Yeah.
That has absolutely nothing in common with the Stephen King book, and yet it's very good.
Yeah, that's a good question because there's a few of them. This is why, I actually had to come to terms with this because I was very much a source material purist, especially right at the height of like the culture war, Hollywood collapsing stuff. But this show, actually doing this every week with you guys, I actually had to come to terms with it. Animation overload was there. It was with the most recent Jurassic Park movie. I was like, dang, these dinosaurs actually kind of look really good aside from like the retarded T-Rex, right?
The
Rancor,
yeah,
big D Rex, yeah.
the special T-Rex, yeah. I was like, this is solid. I was like, what this movie, because I had my little checklist of how to criticize, like my like movie review checklist when I review them in front of me, and it was like scoring like 9s on like oh, the music's good, CGI is good, this other thing's good, the actors are actually acting pretty good. It's just like the only problem was the writing, so it was really like failing in one category, but it drug the movie down so much, and I was like, huh. And then so like that was one thing I had to come to terms with, that the writing itself is kind of all the categories in a sense, but there's also a way to adapt things without following the source material, was the other thing I had to come to terms with.
The other thing too is that for a long time, the CGI that we were getting in these movies was not stellar.
No.
And as a matter of fact, they were spending tons of money to they were spending tons of money on CGI where they could have been putting it into more time on the screen, and the end result is you got you had a bunch of truncated episodes because of all the CGI money they were spending. So it's kind of nice now that somebody learned a lesson. That if you're going to do something, do it right. Make sure your CGI is decent, because that's one of the big complaints that's been going on for the last 5-6 years, is that the CGI sucks.
Well, it's like because they had CGI and it got so developed. I think they kind of forgot that you still need an artist to do it.
I mean, like the first Jurassic Park. That's
great example.
That was like you thought that those were actual real dinosaurs.
There's only a few times where it's obvious, and it's almost always during the day or when it at the medium range. Because if it's far away, it doesn't matter. If it's close up, it's probably a model or a puppet, and or animatronic. And but like during the day at the medium distance, you're like, oh, those are not real Galliminuses running through that field.
And the writing on stuff has always been, we've always had problems recently with writing. The stories have not been that great, and the decisions some of these writers have made. And this also, like I said, this is also on the head of the director as well, because the director has a certain amount of sway as to what goes into the film. It's his baby or her baby, whoever is directing what. And if you're not looking at stuff saying this doesn't work, you're not doing your job. I thought it was. I pointed out that I think it was on X that Peter Jackson was rewriting script lines daily.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, because that was it. He knew that this was. It was a massive project, and it was on his head, and he knew he had to deliver. And there's
sometimes sometimes the actors would butt in with their own opinions too.
And people who all the people who are into the story want to produce the best thing out there, and it seems like you're not getting that anymore. So the director holds some responsibility for that as well.
So
again, why I sing the praises of the indie market.
Yeah,
both for film and books. You just have to weed through a lot of shit.
Yep, but you'll find real gems.
Oh, in indie, yes, you will. But it's especially now where it's especially with the more common, the more frequent and common use of AI. There's so many fake indie books out there. There's a lot. There's like it's not hard to find either, because people get you don't have to be lazy with it like some people are, but some people are real lazy. It's disappointing.
And one last thing, and I'll stop bloviating.
You're good.
They keep saying that people are reading less because the only metric that they can go off of is like traditional publishing. I don't think they understand. People are reading less because they're not reading traditional published authors. they're moving to Indy.
Good point.
I do think
So-
there's a level of illiteracy as well. There's
Well,
a page I follow on Instagram now. He's this well-spoken like black guy. He goes to the ghetto where he grew up, and he gives people a like a sentence. Just read it out loud.
Oh, I think I've seen this.
It's like 50. I've seen it's like it's approaching being a 20-part series, and it's rough, brother. It's rough. It's like just ghetto people in general. So, and I think
Well,
the worst
yeah,
readers
I've
of all
seen-
are
I've seen-
the white ghetto women are the worst readers of all. That's
Well, I've seen a couple of them where they had multiple. They're bragging about their.
I just
frickin'
want to get a
PhD.
Sesame Street now.
They're bragging about
Today's
their
episode is brought to you by why?
They're bragging
Because
about
it's why
their
we
P-
here.
They're bragging
their
about
what?
their PhDs,
Yeah.
and they don't know like basic American history.
Yeah.
They don't know word. They don't know like advanced
Words.
English. It's like, how the hell did you get a PhD?
Dude, remedial English in college is I'm glad I went to college for all of one class.
So,
Bill went from
I
one class
didn't.
and said, "They're all gay."
Well, okay, no, they're all gay came after the teacher falsely reported me for intimidating her and threatening her, which never happened. And this is also why I say, if you're going to go to college, record every single interaction that you have. Don't trust anyone. No one there is there to be your friend. Get what you're there for. Get
Yep.
out.
Same with the
Yeah.
doctor.
Don't F around. Just don't.
You like supplied basic logic, and it was threatening to her.
Mhm. Yeah.
I basically asked just general questions, and apparently I was threatening her. So, whatever.
Oh, geez. Come on now.
We'll forget the fact that I was hunched over, really playing up my social nervousness because I know that sometimes I have resting bitch face. Like, I actively
That's
played
what I
up
thought
my
when I first
social
saw you.
anxiety for this woman, and I
See-
still got accused of being intimidating. Anyways,
So-
Animation had thoughts on the
So,
show.
so really, you were doing her a favor, Bill. You were literally helping her, and that's
I
how
was.
she repaid.
I was
yeah.
doing her a favor, and the school resources officer was a dick. Anyways, animation, sink or
Yeah, yeah.
float.
Yeah, sink or float animation.
Weighing all the counter arguments, I guess float.
Oh, all
The
right.
most non-committal float of, I guess, float.
That means no tie. No tie. Thank you.
No
animation.
ties.
No,
Here we-
float, but no oars. You can't paddle anywhere.
Oh yeah, it's
So you
treading
die
water.
out at sea.
Yeah, it's treading water. That's what me and I forgot who else said it. Herman, did you say it floated but treaded water?
yeah, floating but treading water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we said. Okay, well here it is.
Based.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, season 2 floats just barely. Before we move on, pretty
Yes.
good. I have some information for you.
Yes.
Now, take this as strictly as rumor, but we
Uh-huh.
may not be getting the fish feed in season 3.
Ah, dang it.
Just-
I've
just
been waiting for
warn
the
you.
fish feed.
Hopefully, this information is incorrect, but I just want to gauge your expectations. Accurately.
The fish feeding?
The fish feed
Yeah, it's-
is
Yeah. Lay it on him, lore
Okay.
master.
well. The fish feed was one of the battles in the Dance of Dragons, known for its absolute brutality, where the army of Winter Wolves from House Stark basically slaughtered one of Christian Cole's forces in the Riverlands at the lakeshore. That's why it was called the fish feed, because all those bodies ended up in the lake to feed the fish.
and this is one of the more impressive historical Starks that we know of as well. So he actually fought with ice, the giant sword that was impractical for everybody to
Oh, yeah.
wield.
Oh yeah, the cloud strife sword of Westeros,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Also, I was trying to look up a link for something unrelated. And I just found a movie I desperately want to watch and is unavailable to buy or find anywhere. And that is apparently there's a movie called Van Damme is Lionheart, where when the streets are a jungle, there can only be one king. I want this. I am tenting my pants. I would love to watch this movie. And there's no way to do it. I'm so upset.
That's an image.
Oh, but
Oh,
yeah,
and
no.
And as I'm literally right now, I'm getting feedback from one of my beta readers, and he absolutely loved the next book.
What did he say? Did
Ooh.
he have any comparison notes of it being a sequel to the first one, and whether it was how the story compared or how it felt as a sequel?
Well, I will tell you this: Odo is not bumbling anymore because he's much older. But yeah, he's going to give me some notes this Saturday.
He wears tighter pants and talks with authority. We're all here for it.
Hey,
My kind of guy.
And
Nice.
the other one, the other beta reader, came back with notes a couple or like his last week, and he's like, I don't know why you're not in bookstores. So
Well, I've thought that since I first read your novella initially. I'm like, this is better than anything I've read in traditional fantasy besides Sanderson in a while.
Herman, that statement and past statements you've made about like writing like that, I think it's why I have like this. I don't know why I gravitate towards you a little bit, why I get along with you really well. It reminds me of myself, kind of. Back when I was doing music a lot, I would literally have people approach me at parties and be like, why aren't you signed yet? They were literally confused, and I didn't have an answer for them. You know what I mean? Because of the whole, you know how it is, the establishment, really. Like, they hire who they want to hire, really. It's a job, and there's a reason why there's no path laid out for this career that they dangle in front of everybody. Like, look at games like Guitar Hero and Rock Band. Like, being a rock star is a male, like, aspiration. Yeah. Dude,
I had dreams of it when I was young. I remember I think every guy at some point like wants to be either a rap artist or a rock star.
Well, and it's the same with being an author. It's the same with acting. It's the same with being a model. It's the same with so many things that don't have a clear path laid out to them for a reason. But yeah, I digress. People would approach me and they'd hear like the new song that came out. This is like back when I was like first starting Empty My Lungs, maybe one of the last releases from We Are the Blog. But yeah, just like randoms at parties, like they weren't being dicks. They weren't even kissing my ass. They were just seriously deeply confused. Like they would, you know, and I didn't have an answer. I was all thumbs. I'm like, I don't really know what to do. To be honest, nobody tells us these things. They just kind of like say, sell everything, move to Hollywood and be a starving artist. And they say that kind of similar language to writers too.
Well,
this, Herman.
The thing is that, and I'm bloviating again.
We all bloviate here,
much bloviating on this stream.
Gen Z is discovering the older books, and they're discovering the older TV shows and the older movies, and they prefer those over the stuff that's coming out now.
Dude.
Oh yeah, like my kids, my young kids, they like all the older, like they like some new stuff. Like they like they're as tempted by the mindless drivel that is on YouTube, but hence they don't watch YouTube. But they love all the older shows I grew up with.
But I'm seeing all these younger guys posting books like God, who is it? He's one of the guys in like our circle, and I'm having a brain fart. It's still the anesthesia. And he's going around picking up pulp books left and right, and he's a younger guy, and they're rediscovering what it is that has been lost for the last, 20 years, and bringing and finding, what stuff used to be like. And that's the reason why I think a lot of the younger guys are getting so, staunch and radical about where culture is going and where the country is going and all that other stuff, is because they've been now discovered. Number one, they've hit the wall that was set up before them. Or,
God
like a
forbid they
decade ago.
find out how life used to be for even me growing up. It's like I'm part of the generation where I was prepared for a world that didn't exist by the time in the few years it took for me to grow up. Essentially, I was taught all these social skills and like ways of acting and ways of getting ahead and like how like living honorably and like getting ahead at work and all these things, and most of them don't really apply anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. I mean, 80s was like a freaking panacea. It was,
My father had all the stories.
yeah. So I am your father. Anyway, so I find that interesting that that they're now discovering all of this stuff and going, what the hell happened?
Yeah, dude.
Kind of like what I do every day. What the fuck happened?
You wake up, what the hell happened? Wife's like, take your meds, honey. Take your meds.
My God, it shrinks. Anyways.
Maybe that's kind of like what we've needed to be focusing on this whole time, because like during this whole renaissance of indie, pushing for indie, as Hollywood collapses, maybe the other side of that coin is preserving the sacred texts, so to speak. So to speak, right?
I think
how tragic
would
it be if we lost Lord of the Rings? That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. What are you gonna say?
I think we're moving into a new age where we have guys who are just coming up, and they're going to be way more astute because that stuff wasn't that stuff is preserved still in like used bookstores and used DVD, and they're moving to physical too. That's the other thing. There's been a preference for physical.
Yeah, they've already seen the trends. Like with some of these kids have grown up with fake internet nonsense constantly in their life if they were on the internet, and a lot of them don't like it. It leads to so much uncertainty. It can't be good for your mental health if you grow up that way. It's hard enough as an adult right now. I don't like it. So
I think we may end up seeing a renaissance with either Gen Z or maybe even Gen Alpha, the people come after them.
Yeah.
Where a lot of this stuff slowly corrects itself. So
I hope I'm able to contribute to that.
Same. Yeah.
I mean,
I have my novel and my comics in the works. I'm going to focus on my music for a bit, but this next album, after that's done, I'm chilling for a bit and going to try to close projects, basically. What were you going to say, Bill?
I was just going to say a couple things. First of all, Herman, you're looking at one of those Gen Zs right here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, he's a child. I forgot.
Well, and my coworker calls me the most boomer Gen Z she has ever met.
Good title.
Now, of course, I work in IT, so she hears me bitching about the computers I have to fix on a daily basis.
Yeah.
My constant complaint is, why the hell would they do this? This is the most asinine way to do this. Why? End my suffering. Why? And why do these people not know a damn thing about their passwords or Microsoft accounts or anything? Do they not pay attention?
Someone comes in. Can you tell me my password? No.
And it's at that point that I pull out my gun.
His Nerf blaster is what he said. YouTube. His Nerf blaster.
And on top of that, I never had to read the Odyssey or the Iliad for high school. Never.
Yeah.
That was never a requirement. I did have to read Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, and I never did read it in high school because I don't like being told what to read. I did read it a year ago. But now I now have the Iliad, the Odyssey, and the one by Virgil, which title I'm not even going to try and say. And they've been calling to me for the last week like sirens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, I've got indie authors whose stuff I want to try and read before the year ends. I've got other stuff that I need to read before the year ends. I gotta hold off, and it's not easy. It really isn't, because I read the first couple pages of both the Iliad and the Odyssey just out of curiosity. Yeah, it turned into like the first 5 pages on both.
Yeah.
Before I realized, oh, I need to stop. I'm in the middle of like 5 other books. I need to stop. I need to put
that's
this on
good.
pause.
If anyone is curious about the Greek stories in a decent retelling, Stephen Fry's Greek story retellings are really entertaining and filled with historical stuff as well.
Buy this man's book.
Buy it.
Buy
Oh, wait, hold on. We'll get there. There we go. But also there's another man I agreed to promote here on this stream tonight, and that is Mr. John A. Douglas. He wrote The Black Crown, which is one of my favorite indie fantasy books. It's one of my
And you
favorites.
do lean black, so I mean,
I do. Anyway,
That doesn't sound right. Wasn't your father a part of your life, Kahuna?
very actively, yes. But he revealed his cover just this morning, or might have been even last night. And here, let me see. Got to get rid of you. And here we go. Here it is. John A. Douglas, The Lionheart, Icon of Justice. This is a parallel story taking place roughly at the same time as The Black Crown in that same fantasy world. Just in case anyone doesn't realize it, it is a fantasy story, not only a superhero-esque
It threw
story.
me off with the cover because he's got like the cape, he's all the super
Buildings
stuff going
look
on.
a little more modern than they should, even according to the book. I have been reading an early copy. It's a very different story from The Black Crown, but it's written in a really interesting way, and it's giving me the kind of story that I am wanting right now. So it definitely leans on some superhero things that we saw maybe when I was growing up. A lot more of the discovering things, and then but it's written in a fantasy world, which is kind of an interesting change of pace for that reason. He's a cool character, and I'm curious to see how this story ends. But yeah, no, I love that indie has the freedom to do something like this, because you could not sell this book to a publisher.
Dude,
Like, you cannot.
Yeah.
There's no way.
No.
The book I'm working on wouldn't be able to be sold to a publisher. I know that myself, and that's one of the reasons I decided to become indie a couple years ago when I started writing Zorn. I was like, okay, well, they're not going to want what I have brewing, so I guess I'll just figure it out on my own.
Before my first book got deleted maliciously by somebody in my life. Anyway, before that happened, I considered, like, because it was kind of in the earlier part of the culture war, I considered like doing the whole like, I'll use my Hawaiian name, and they won't know that don't look very Hawaiian, and maybe they'll publish it for that reason. I thought about it for about 5 seconds, like, nah, I can't do that. Ugh.
A Tale of Poi.
I'm here to pound poi and kick ass, and I'm all out of. I've pounded all the poi.
I'm here to pound poi and kick ass, and I'm all out of ass. Wait.
I'm here to pound ass and wait. Hold on. Wait. Repeal that.
The funny thing is that when I was younger, my dad had a convention that was in Hawaii. It was on Oahu. And I think we had gone to Maui kind of like as a side trip on that.
Yeah.
And the funny part is that every native that I saw at Maui, quote, native Hawaiian, I saw at Maui, they were all from frickin' Michigan. And I'm like, why the hell did I come to Hawaii?
Well, to see the Michiganians.
Michiganians.
That's where my grandma was from. She got a early.
Oh my God.
She got her. Yeah, she's from Michigan. No. And she got an early divorce that she didn't talk about until I was an adult. And her friend's like, "Hey, I'm on vacation. I'm going to Hawaii in like two weeks. You want to come?" She's like, "Why not? Sure. I've been to Europe and all over the world. Why not go to Hawaii?" Went to Hawaii, ended up staying there, met a guy, got married 2 weeks later. Her mother calls her, "You don't even like summer. What are you doing over there?" She's like, "I met someone. I'm going to marry him." Yeah, so and then so from like 1962 or 63 onward, she just moved there on a whim, halfway through a vacation.
Speaking of on a whim, boom. What is this? What have you put on our screen, Kahuna?
Oh, I said it already. You might have missed it. No,
I
this
missed
is
it.
the
Dang it.
cover art for John A. Douglas's new book, The Lionheart, Icon of Justice. And he is a minority. He is arc-blind. It's obvious just looking at him. No,
Yeah,
arc-blind in his
superhero
series
wearing
means that
white.
he has no affinity for magic whatsoever, which is pretty rare. Most people have at least a tiny bit. His character does not. His father is in a high magical authoritative position, and his character is proven at a young age not to have that capability in any capacity. So it leads to a very different path and an introduction of a character he's hinted to me privately about for a long time. And he will
he's
have
a squib.
Yes, basically, yes, he's a squib. That not to spoil what it will be, but he will have one more book that is running parallel to the Black Crown and the Lionheart in time in the pantheon of his fantasy world here. And so he's created something called the Douglas arc, and it's a pretty interesting idea. I've seen other books kind of do a similar thing. I'm really curious to see if he can pull it off. I think he can. He's a good writer, but yeah, no, I'm very excited for this release. I'm going to post a link for you can pre-order the e-book version. Oh wait, oh no, it's not. It didn't do it. Anyway, there's something for JavaScript right there, but yeah, the Lionheart, Icon of Justice. Don't bring it up.
It's called hanging a lantern.
Yes. Thank you, thank you. That's what we need.
Yeah. Look at behold my intentional, totally on purpose thing.
I am definitely interested in reading The Lionheart, since this definitely is. It not only does it feel like a superhero story, we've got a paragon character. It's not like man, I don't know what was the name of the main character, the Black Crown.
Oh, Rags.
Yeah, Rags. Yeah, it's not like Ragged has his own arc as he's going through, while this one is more of a flat arc. So like, oh, okay, I'm more interested in this one.
Yeah, no, the Black Crown is a very long book. Lionheart is a much shorter book. It's much more. It's a simpler story. It's more compact. It's more of a flat arc rather than a growth kind of story. And it does lean on its superhero, obviously, inspirations, while still, and he does some interesting things with the magic as well. Because not spoiling anything, but he does not get his power through a traditional means, especially in world. It's a very unusual way that he gets it, and it's a very, very cool scene. I desperately want to talk about it.
Is he bitten by a radioactive dragon? Or?
Yes, there's a radioactive dwarf baby dragon that bites him on the neck, and then he gets superpowers.
Dragon man.
Oh, jeez.
Wait, since he's the Lionheart, wouldn't it be a radioactive lion?
Yeah,
but lions can't fly, and he's flying. So, I mean, obviously, it has to be a dragon. Why he would call himself the Lionheart, I don't know.
I do have one thing. I do have one thing.
But maybe in this world, dragons are called lions. Like that's just their word for them.
No, they're just called. No, they're just dragons. He just wants to have a dragon on the cover of each of the first 3 books. I have no spoilers. I haven't encountered a dragon yet.
Is that an anteater beside of him?
No, it's a pendulum. What do you call those things?
That's the minority protagonist he was referring to, Pangolin. The pangolin in the story. It's actually that's the main character.
Yeah, no,
it's like an aardvark or something.
No, yeah. I think it.
Yeah, they're a naturally armored creature. They're they're a variety of anteater technically.
Yeah.
But they're a bit.
That's why I got it confused. It always looked similar to me.
Maybe
they're in the same family for sure.
Maybe Herman can attest to this a little bit. Maybe he'll back me up here. I'm curious. I think there's going to be this symbiosis that happens where people figure out the exact amount of detail to put into a book, because as like a society, we're already examining that when we compare people like George Martin to Brandon Sanderson. People always highlight and talk about Sanderson's simple style. Okay, so we're examining that currently, whether we know it or not. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to figure out the proper amount of detail and the proper length for a movie or a TV show. And I think we're all going to kind of start writing as the norm. I'll be right back.
Yeah, there's also this curse, especially with people who tend to write epic fantasy. This is less epic fantasy than, say, the Black Crown was. But the modern tendency in epic fantasy is bigger and longer books and bigger and broader stakes. Every single book. That becomes exhausting. Like, Herman, you mentioned this with the mainline series for A Song of Ice and Fire earlier. That's part of the problem. Everything got too big. The last two books, I haven't even read the last two books.
Well,
not
it's like
entirely.
It's like my novella. That's my best-selling book.
Yeah, your first one, right?
Yeah, and it's an easy sell because number one, you don't know what you're going to get from a new writer. Number two, it doesn't take up a long period of time, and number three, it acts like a palate cleanser between all of these massive epic books. And the thing is that I did some research on this. It was the 80s when the book lengths, especially in epic fantasy, started to grow. Prior to that, it was unusual to have a book that broke 100,000 words. Most of them were like sitting in the 50 to 80,000 word range. Yeah, is that right? 80,000 word range. And, they were consumed.
That's a reasonable length for a book. Also.
So, which is, I actually want to get back to like putting out smaller books, because I think, when you get too far away from what people can consume, and I don't necessarily think it's this generation or the fact that it's internet and everybody wants stuff done now. I think that, you can actually bury normies, even book lovers, with these massive books, because in order to get there, you have to fill them in many ways. You have to fill them with a lot of crap. Even my wife said I had a couple of slow chapters, and I usually don't write slow chapters. So
people think that size is equivalent to scope. That's
Yeah.
not really the case.
No.
And
I mean,
not everybody has to write with like the efficiency of a Robert E. Howard.
Yeah.
But like a lot of these books are not made better by their greater length, which is really
you need to ask
a waste of people's time.
I think the big question, and what's funny is you can kind of see this issue with a lot of modern films since they moved to digital cameras off of the limited film. It became cheaper to have longer movies than before, and now you have a lot of directors and filmmakers who are basically so far up their own arses that they make 3-hour-long movies that could only be an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Same thing with books. You need to ask yourself, what is this contributing? Is this needed? One of the things that I love about writing Zorn is that in 8,000 words or less, I have to tell a complete adventure.
Because that's what the length you've
that is
given
the length.
yourself.
That's the length I've designated for each Zorn episode, as I like to call them. So that is what we're sticking with. 15 of these episodes creates a season. That'll be like the physical release once I get there. And, get in, get out.
That's
Just
a
like
solid
Prom.
way. And we can even look at, like, I'll use an example from mainstream fantasy. The fifth book in the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. I just talked about it again with somebody on their channel recently. Each book has gotten longer than the last, the trend of modern epic fantasy, as I alluded to before. If you listen at normal speed, that fifth book is 57 hours long. It is a freaking commitment. Now, what excuses that length, has did previously in the same series was that the books were all of a really high quality, and the storytelling was epic, and it made sense for that length. But they've already run into this problem where there's so much, like something like close to 2 million words has been written in this series, and characters are already having to either revert their arcs or do weird things to stay relevant in the story. And because there's been so many words put in and so much time with these characters, it's to the point where they have stopped doing things that make sense in some ways. Herman, I'm sure you know a bit about this as well, or anyone who's seen an American TV show knows exactly what I'm talking about.
The consequences of growth arcs.
Yep.
It's like we can't just like revert the characters, and it's like if they're always getting better, then that's a problem. But if they're always reverting and like not doing well, also that doesn't make sense either.
But if they're flat, they're boring.
Yeah, and a flat character is boring if nothing changes of relevance. For a flat character arc works if the story's not too long. If it is too long, that's a problem.
Well, and it's like George R.R. Martin. It's getting back to George R.R. Martin with the Song of Ice and Fire stuff. The nice thing about his multi POV is that I could suffer through a chapter with a character I didn't like in order to get to the characters I did like. So that got me through the book, but I mean, that started to get tedious after a while. And then there was one book that didn't focus on any of the characters that had appeared in the prior books. So it's like, why am I reading this? And then I think he got back to, with his last book in that series, he got back to, basics with the original POVs. But I mean, after a while, that having to focus on too much or trying to throw stuff in just to add additional drama where it really doesn't need to be there is really what's killing books. And I think is what's really turning off a lot of readers. I don't think we're seeing an illiteracy problem. I think what we're seeing is a problem with people saying, well, especially in fantasy, taking a look at this, big freaking doorstopper of a book and saying, I'm not reading that. And they're not going to make the financial investment in it either, only to find out that it sucks. So that's the reason why I think scaling it back is actually a smarter move.
I do think it's a smarter move. I do think there's one thing that is helping mitigate that a little bit. And that is, well, an answer to a lot of problems, audiobooks.
Yep.
People are much more willing to listen to an audiobook for a long time rather than because you can listen to an audiobook while you're doing something. That's one of the reasons I'm able to read more because of that. If you qualify that as reading, it activates the same parts of the brain, so it should be fine. But that's a whole thing.
I agree with you, but there is a whole. Well, who's going to say it? Say it, Draco. Throw it out there.
Definitely audiobooks. If you guys know of Isaac Young, he has his book, The Last Human, basically as an audiobook that's free on YouTube to listen to.
Yeah,
and it's gotten a lot of traction.
Yeah, and that's that. God, what was it? The author marketing podcast. They're on YouTube as well, and they've been saying that people putting their audiobooks on YouTube is getting a lot of views, and part of it is because people will put on these long books to get to sleep at night, which I don't know if that's a good thing. But it gets people interested, and it gets them because I listen to audiobooks at work, or I'll listen to YouTube at work. And so it's just as easy to put on an audiobook that you find on YouTube than you can, because I sit there and type all day, and then I come home and type all day.
Yeah.
So, and has Draco done a proper shilling of his book?
Draco, shill yourself.
You need to do a proper shill, big proper shill.
We're going to make him big.
Yes. Well, if you want me to shill, then I'm going to shill the Star Wars series. It's got volumes 1, 2, 3. Each book is technically shorter almost in the last. Volume 3 is only 100 pages, but it is the ongoing adventures of Sir Samuel Bailey and his wife Princess Kaguya as they seek to liberate an alien world from the rule of the Dark Lord Deimos. It's no different from your standard Saturday morning cartoon show, but with less of broadcast standards and practices to get in the way. It's not R-rated, but there's a bit of swearing and a lot of action, though. No interference, no treating you like a kid. Well, kind of. Not treating you as a dumb kid who can't handle stuff. It's got all of the greats, and it's good for ages 12 and up.
Heck yeah, brother.
Serious
That's
question
really
on the topic of the Saturday morning cartoons. Are there PSAs?
No,
Do you
there are no
include
PSAs.
Oh, those are my favorite part.
Wait. Aww.
The PSA is in the story itself. You don't need a message. You don't need the message at the end from Orko. You just have to see the characters in action. You'll get your morals.
Look both ways before you cross the street.
Yeah. It's like, remember, don't go out with an alien.
Otherwise, you'll miss the truck you're trying to jump into.
And is Bill done a proper shill?
Bill.
Outside of my stuff.
No pressure, but don't bone this. This is your one chance.
Oh, don't bone it. Well, let me just pull my pants back up. So yeah, I write Zorn, which is a fun little sci-fi adventure series. The new episode of Zorn is coming out this Friday, so read it. Or don't. I mean, it's up to you. It's free. You can just follow the link and just read it. You just go to zorn.substack.com and just read it. That is Zorn spelled Zulu, Omega, Romeo, November, Echo. .substack.com. And we have a little good time there. And yeah, like I said, it's free. There's no paywall. I am actually operating at a deficit because I pay an editor.
Oh, yeah.
I am bleeding money into this. I am bleeding money. I am bleeding time.
I'm just
on occasion. I sometimes bleed my heart and soul into the pages.
And we all know that Bill likes his fluffy.
It bleeds your neighbor's blood, you know.
Child.
Well, my neighbor had it coming.
I literally smear my screen with blood before I start writing.
You sound like that weird homeschool kid that we all knew growing up, Herman.
You know the one.
It's like every now and again, like as an adult now, I'll meet someone every now and again. I'm like, you were homeschooled, weren't you? They're like, how did you know? I'm like, we all know. We recognize our own kind.
That's going to be.
You're one of my people, aren't you?
Homeschool is the future, Kahuna.
Dude, I wish, but I have to work and I can't subject anyone in my family, and definitely not my girlfriend to that living nightmare.
This generation.
I like to collect insects and collect phlegm.
Kahuna, this is what you do. You build a snack machine, right? And they have to solve the equation so that it will give them food. Boom.
My son basically does that. My son, I have a motion sensor set up in the hallway. So I know if he comes out of his room in the middle of the night. It plays an alarm louder than my phone in my room whenever he wakes up. Because he wakes up, uses ladders and tools that I didn't know we had, and gets access to snacks and food, or the TV remote if I don't hide it well enough.
Yep.
He's a little thieving night owl, is what he is. I love it.
He turns it into a game of living D&D. That's what he does.
He's like, I have to level up my sneak skills.
Yeah. It's like a dungeon crawl for him. He's like, all right, time to get to work.
Fireball.
I am the aggressive red dragon.
Yeah, dude.
If I catch him.
Yep, exactly.
Dude. Real quick, since Draco brought up the rating for his Star Warden, which, by the way, I'm beginning to think, we got the last Star Warden and Star Warden. Zorn just chose the wrong profession. He's a defender. Anyways, the rating there, I aim for a solid Doctor Who rating, so I absolutely put some horror influence in there.
So
every so
gay
often-
and British.
Less British because my character actually has a gun.
Ah, very
Based.
American.
Based.
Yes. Still one of the best jokes in all of Doctor Who is when the Secret Service agent pulls a gun on an alien and says, "Welcome to America."
Yeah.
Just shoots
Wait,
it
that's
right
a
there.
thing?
Yeah. That was in
I
an
gotta
episode
watch
of
more Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Dude, I can
Based too.
I'll give you the name of the episode if you give me a minute to find it, but yeah, so rating, there's some horror influence. I have used all of one curse word in one episode, and that was about it.
You disgusting.
disgusting
I'm just
bitch.
kidding. I'm just
Yeah, it's a nice, fun read for teenage boys and 30-year-old man children.
Awesome.
Yep. My girlfriend was asking me about one of the stories, a story of mine that I deleted on my own. And she's like, "Well, why did you get rid of it?" I'm like, "Oh, I started talking about the plot." And she's like, "But it ends happy, right?" I'm like, "No, that one didn't." Hence why I got rid of it.
It had to
It was
go.
like that story in particular was basically like a really long novella of like a fantasy version of my divorce that I was in the middle of at the time.
I
I'm like,
see.
this isn't for the world. This is just for me. This
Therapy.
is bad.
Yeah. It was.
I have the-
therapeutic, yeah.
I have the episode for you, Draco. So it was a two-parter in season 6 of New Who. The first 2 episodes, The Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon. The actual joke, Welcome to America comment, is in the season 6, episode 2, Day of the Moon, but it's a two-parter.
Mhm. You said New Who? So 10th Doctor?
9, 10, 11, and 12, yeah. So this would
Okay.
be the 11th.
Who's Emily in Toy Story 5? Is that a character or like one of the actresses? Or like a voice actress?
No idea.
Well, Emily owned Jesse, I believe.
Was that his mother's name? Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Andy's
Emily.
mother's name, was that it?
So Emily
yeah,
owned
yeah,
Jesse
yeah.
originally.
Yeah, they like we guessed that after watching the second one. At least I did, and then it was like basically confirmed by people later. But damn, and I think sad. Billy, I love your predictions, but I have a stronger opinion. Toy Story 5 should not exist.
Yeah,
How
Thank you.
dare you?
you know,
It
5 should not exist. 4 should not exist. 3 was pretty good.
Put
Yeah,
it on the
3 was
train.
perfect.
take it from a guy who's in his 60s, know when to retire.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost as if most stories have a natural conclusion, and that just goes to, as we were talking about earlier, long-running TV shows. As much as I love it, Doctor Who should have ended.
Almost every American drama should have ended at least 3 seasons before it did. That's the truth. Bare minimum.
I mean, even with my Zorn series, my plan, I could easily
It's far
keep it
too long.
Yeah, add 9 episodes. Oh, dude, I just need to retire it now. But I would like to keep doing it for as long as I can. But at the same time, Alexander, my current main character, he has a
Good name.
he has a definitive end to his story. His nephew, Matthias Zorn, will have a definitive beginning, middle, and end to his story. Romulus, same thing. Like, they all have play their part in the larger narrative.
Are you doing the JoJo thing where you just follow different family members throughout time?
That's sick. I like it. It's a style.
I caught him, boys. We got him, boys.
I really wanted to do a JoJo's pose right now, but my camera would not get me standing up. So
Bill, it's okay. He started talking about my own world RK earlier, and I was over here like a Pharisee, ready to call him out, like at the slightest variation, like, oh, and I'm like, no, that works. No, yep, that works. Yeah.
Everything
Great
he
job.
said is
Great job,
unfortunately
sir.
correct. Yes.
He is the Messiah. I cannot deny it.
He is
Thank you, dude.
technically correct, which is the
No,
best kind of correct.
It was a great glazing from the Captain Kahuna. And I
He
think
loves
just,
glazing people on stream.
it's the identification of the JoJo thing. I mean, like I said, it's a style, just like my thing is a style. Like, and I realized after writing an entire novel that short stories favorite. This is what I was trying to say. My wife called me a way to get a tick. We live in like northwestern
it a
Minnesota,
nervous
in the
tick?
middle of nowhere.
Was
It
it
was
Lone Star?
It was a clever tick because it got away. So I'm like, I'm a lookout now, looking around like, where the hell did it go? I thought it was in my hand. I was like, I'm gonna torch you. I'm gonna kill it with fire. I was about to say Draco. I was gonna say it, and then it just wasn't there. It was just gone. It was like
It vanished in the night.
it vanished in the palm of my hand. I forgot what I was gonna say, but like, yeah, it's a style, dude. The JoJo stuff, that's a good style. Just like my thing is a style with the like cyclical thing, and I think there's a way to do it too.
Also,
you're
can we
probably still
take it-
figuring out.
Can we take a season 1 JoJo's approach to the bad guy? So the bad guy shows up. He's being adopted. He's a poor kid being adopted into a wealthy, well-to-do family. The first thing he does upon arriving at this place where they're so lovingly going to allow him to grow up and live is he kicks a puppy in the face for no reason.
No, yeah.
That's the bad guy in early part of JoJo.
Yep. He then later.
Oh, he's bad
Yeah.
through and through.
He cooks a hot
He
dog
is.
and
I believe that's the opposite of saving the cat.
You
save the
thought your
cat.
first kiss would be with JoJo. Bullseye! Dio!
Yeah. Oh my
Dude,
gosh.
What I love about JoJo is
You
the
thought you
first
shit your
3
pants, but it was
episodes of
I,
season
Dio.
1 would be like an entire season of any other show. Just the first
Oh yeah,
3.
dude. JoJo's is great because it doesn't waste any time, and I will say some shows with filler, such as Dragon Ball, that filler helps flesh out the world. So it's like, okay, I can get more invested here, and whatever. But basically, with JoJo's, you still get a lot of that great world building with like the stands and Haman and all that. There's no filler. It's just boom, 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 boom. We're going, baby.
Also,
love
he does have especially in the earlier part of JoJo, it's like all these complicated things, and it's like the solution is always way simpler than people anticipate. It's like, oh, I can't reach and I'm falling to my death. What if I used my belt as a whip and just extended my reach a couple of inches? Perfect. We figured it out. That's how
Yep.
you stop the immortal vampire.
That's another thing. People need to know what their stories are. One of the reasons why I love JoJo's is it knows exactly what it is.
It does.
It is over the top. It is hyper masculine. We have impossible man body standards.
it's a tad bizarre. if you-
Impossible for you.
It goes 100. It goes 110% all
Kahuna's Bizarre
throughout, and it's
Adventure.
just perfect because it knows what it is. Just like Lord of the Rings, Tolkien's original books knew what they were: a mythology and legendarium for England. Like, if you know what you're doing and you have that vision, it works better. And hopefully, if you stay true to it, if you stay true to the heart of the story and the heart of the cards, you won't overblow your story to where it's a doorstop that didn't need to be a doorstop.
Exactly.
It's
What makes my book so great?
Sorry, continue.
Instinctual reaction. I just got the complete Yu-Gi-Oh series.
Yeah, excellent.
I've got it too.
Also, don't watch Yu-Gi-Oh with a critical eye.
No.
Nothing makes any sense.
No.
I rewatched it with my kids a little while back. Kind of skipped some of the more demonic parts because they're young. But it was like, jeez. I also forgot how aggressively New York sounding Joey is. It's like I remembered in my head. I'm like, he had a New York accent. That's right. And then I watch a show and it's like, hey, Yugi, oh, we gotta get these cards over here. I'm like, it is way worse than I remember.
Warriors.
Yeah, like
Mighty
that level back.
play.
It was great.
Oh,
I got a
Dang,
surprise for
Ouija.
everybody.
oh yeah.
I just did a quick final pass with a filter on animation overloads thing that he made. I think it turned out really good. I want to show. I'm sending it to him so I can pull it up, so he'll see it first.
Can you dig it?
Can you dig it, brother?
Can you dig it?
Ooh, pretty.
That turned out good, didn't it? Animation.
Not
I was
too
like,
bad, yeah.
yeah, I was like, what? Dang. This is how I like to use these kind of things. Here, I'm gonna pull it up. Where you just like do like a final, like you take something that exists already.
You went
And then you
Pixar,
just-
didn't you? You son of a gun.
I went Disney.
Oh, okay. Well, that they own it. Now.
It's more of a blue skies look, but okay.
And a very simple instruction. I just said, color this like Disney, basically. And so it just took what was there and did the thing on top of it. So I do this with my own photos. I have like old stage photos that are like high resolution and stuff. I'll strip it down into line work and then color it a whole bunch of different ways. It's really fun. I encourage people to go out with your iPhone and like do photography and then take that, tell it to like turn it into line work or recolor it because it's really fun.
Yeah, no,
But yeah,
we
this is
mess
cool.
around with that quite a bit.
Man,
I
it
like
looks
how
it came out of DreamWorks.
I love how fat my dragon is. I love the shirt. Everything about my dragon is satisfying to me. I'm very happy with it. Just like he's as smug as he should look. Also, I had a question for some of you writers. How do you most male writers I know don't approach it that much, especially in the indie space. I'll ask Herman because he's more maybe most veteran among us here. How did you ever consider putting like more romance into any of your stories? And do you think it would have been a good addition, or do you think it would have just detracted from the simpler stories that you're trying to tell?
Well, there is a series that I do have a quote romance, and I dedicated one book to the quote romance. It starts in book 2, put on hold. It's put on hold for the rest of the books, and then it's finalized in the last one. But I still have books in the middle I have to finish. That's going to be a series I'm thinking about putting out next year.
Ooh.
The answer is no. And the reason being is, number one, I don't think my readership is really into that. I think that a lot of them can accept it. But most of these guys are going off into danger. And, I just want to focus on the adventure. I don't want to throw additional stuff in there that really has nothing to do with the adventure and the plot and all of that. Where it makes sense, yeah, I'll throw stuff in there because this romance that I have in the series, which I call it the Frankie series, the romance that I have in the Frankie series has application all the way. The seed that's planted in book 2 has takes root and has application in the last book.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense for it to be throughout.
Yeah,
the entirety
I mean,
of the story.
yeah, great. You're having a romance. Number one, I don't want to write sex. I'm not. And number two, if I'm going to put a romance in there, it's going to be freaking awkward.
And it's also like it depends on the subcategory. Like if we're talking fantasy or sci-fi, it depends on the subcategory. Because in epic fantasy, everything like we're seeing more.
Is it Minotaur? Is it Centaur?
There's no, that's not what I'm talking. There's just you're seeing more of the world. You're seeing more of the world, and so if you're seeing more of the world, and we're focusing on more of everything, like thinking like Wheel of Time, Stormlight, like all those style of books, it kind of does make sense to have more of that because there's more page count. It's less focused that way.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm wrong. I do have another book that is on ice, complete book that does have a romance element to it. But
Nice to see you.
yes, but you know, I was trying to come up with a comeback for that, but I just can't. It's freaking anesthesia. Anyways, I do have one that has a full romance in there, and once again, it's awkward. So, and I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to do this trope thing. I'm not going to do, you know, the enemies to lovers, and I'm going to do something that's going to be unique and more or less male focused, because that's my primary readership.
And also, like in fantasy specifically, if you put if you can't focus on the romance too much, unless that is the focus of the story.
Yeah.
If that's the focus of a particular fantasy story, good on them, sure. But it means that it's not really about anything else that's going on in that story.
Well,
if you focus on it too much.
The funny part is that in the second book, the romance has application, because there's it's actually the finality of it. You will find in the Wizard Stone, the last chapters of the Wizard Stone. It's the Mareth. I have a whole book about Mareth and his, and King Mareth and his and how he becomes who he is. So that's the character.
Well, sweet. It's also exciting to know that you have more books on ice. Are there any, like, I'm sure all of you have stuff, but are there any stories that you've conceptualized or even partially written that you will never publish or never self-publish? So you've just decided, no, this isn't for me.
I had an entire book that I deleted.
Okay, so I'm not the only person on that.
Yeah.
That's a relief.
So far, no, and I try to... Hold on, I need to think about that.
I have fan fiction that will never see the light of day.
I knew it. You are you.
The trick is to get all the bad ideas out of the way first. That way I'm
Al-
only left with good ones.
Also, like, it shows how corrupted fan fiction as a term has become, because it never used to necessarily be dirty. It just
Well, it's
is
not.
now.
None of mine were dirty. They're just terribly, terribly written.
Oh, it was like
I had a fan fiction idea. It was Dexter's Lab meets Dexter the serial killer, and I called it Dexter's Morgue. and I thought it was funny.
that is pretty funny. No, I like that.
I'll also say I have like 3 books that I started that I abandoned because of reasons. One of them is Hal Cedric's origin story.
Yeah, you've told me about that before. That was interesting hearing about. Remind me, why did you decide not to really put that down? Like, was it bit? Oh, was it you wanted to leave it more mysterious, more mythological?
No, it was going nowhere. I was throwing action in for the sake of action.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have a good feeling about it. Now that I've filled in his character, I might go back and revisit that one day.
Yeah, it may be worth revisiting, but there is something about, like, in the Silmarillion by Tolkien, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. There's more gremlins behind me. Anyway, it goes into the history and such, but it's still left kind of. It's not as personal. It's not as fleshed out. It's a little more ambiguous, and I think that's a good way to keep the mythology alive. Sometimes a lot of these books or movies, like, we're going to do a prequel. You'll get to be really close to all the legends, and they suddenly seem much less cool.
Legendy.
Yeah, much less mythological. Much
and
smaller,
did you know that you're spontaneously growing a second head?
This is true. It's a better looking head than mine. Less bearded, better eyes, better lips. It's true. Oh my goodness gracious. So bedtime was an hour and 20 minutes ago. Not for me, but for someone.
You know, on the whole romance angle, since we still had that. Answer your question, Kahuna. I did. It's in my books. It's a Star Warden.
Hi.
And he's already married. Hello. Oh.
Hello.
Oh. And the whole of the romance is in the book. There's flashbacks that actually go through of why they're together. Because you know what, it gives some context to not only for the characters but also some world building as well. So it serves a purpose. And it's already done. We don't have to go through the awkward chase or the will they won't they. It's done. They're married. It's done. And now we can continue on with the rest of the story. Here's some extra information if you're curious about more about the romance, and it also helps flesh out the world. And done. Like, it's that easy. People and our writers don't do romance because we gotta do this chase, we gotta do the setup and all of that, and we gotta keep the drama and tension because that's how like in TV. Oh wait, we have all this drama, and if we end it by resolving it, they're not gonna come back. And I'm like, no, you can already have this done and over with, move on. And then you can tell the other stories, like what happens after they get married, what if they have kids, and go on in that. Now, for TV, that's harder because then you have to get child actors and all that. But otherwise, if you're working with a book, you can do whatever.
That's true. You have a much longer runway for your story.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And with mine being a multi-generational story, or at least in the long term, that's the plan. People are going to get married. I mean, they kind of have to produce offspring.
Ew.
Yeah, I know. Gross. Women. Ugh.
Actually, we're gonna do this the old tube method. We're gonna have a doctor do this for us.
I mean, I've actually already introduced the. This is a spoiler, and I already started saying the sentence before I realized it was a bit of a spoiler, and there are very few people that it could be. I've already introduced the person that Zorn is going to marry. The problem is that in my world, different species cannot reproduce because
It's
they can't.
concerning
It's
that you think
genetics.
that's a problem.
Oh, is it because they weren't made in the image of God? That's why.
Well, no, I mean like different sapient species. A human and a Raxian, if they hook up, they're not going to produce any offspring, even if their parts work with each other, because the genetic code is completely different. It's like trying to mate a dog and a cat.
Oh, Bill,
not
you
gonna
can
work.
make anything work if you're brave enough.
I object to that statement because the Star Warden's wife is an alien. She's a fairy, and they can have children because fairies were made in the image of God. So that means they are compatible.
But this also leads into why the next Zorn is going to be Alexander's nephew, because through circumstance and stuff, he will adopt his nephew and raise him as his own son.
Believe me, he wanted his own offspring, and by golly, by God, he gave it the good old college try.
By golly, he and his wife are gonna go at it. Not in the stories. Not in the stories. We're keeping that
in graphic detail in the next episode. Yes.
You know, Tolkien had this. Tolkien did
shortest
have this problem.
chapter of all time.
It's like extremely detailed, but it's like the most dispassionate scene.
Tolkien
Coming
did have
from
this
me.
problem with Beren and Luthien, and it was that they got permission from the Valar to have children. So that's my Tolkien nerd moment.
I love
my
that
obscene
story.
moment is wrong hole, dear.
See, it took divine permission. That's why you got half elves in Tolkien.
So there's one effed up thing about my mainline fantasy world. Go to bed, child. Anyway. No.
Go to ship bed, child.
Go. Anyway.
Be gone with me. He's not.
Because of the way the magic system works, the most powerful magic technique in the entirety of that world is that of combination. Basically taking two disparate things and turning them into one thing. If not done very carefully, it has very disastrous results. Essentially, centaurs are monsters. And so any living creature that they spend time with romantically will give birth to it. Kind of like Viltrumites. It will become a centaur. Not to the benefit of the mother in any way. And so that's one pretty I
Man,
want
you weren't worse than Mound.
more messed up than the Greeks with mine.
Are you saying that it reflects reality in the example of a viper? Is that how it works?
Kind of. I'm distracted
Kind
by
of.
a child tapping my shoulder.
Well, for those unfamiliar,
You
viper,
got a monkey on your back.
the viper
I'll be back.
mother passes away when she gives birth. So
Wait,
that's why I
really?
was wondering. Yeah. That's why it's used in the Bible, comparing the old establishment to a brood of vipers, because it's like as you give birth, you kill the mother. So it's like they're, yeah. Anyway, that's where I learned it. I actually didn't know that about vipers until I started like studying scripture a little bit more.
I've not
That's
heard of that ever.
Yeah, they're
Interesting.
like, yeah. It
it's
finds a
not-
way out regardless. I'm pretty
Well,
sure.
No, basically my idea was that this part of the magic is kind of like science when not done with care. Like people who want to
Right.
experiment and expand and learn. Anytime that's done without care, problems occur. Basically, a mad wizard from an elder age, he combined the mind, body, and spirit of a horse and a man. But because he didn't do it with care, what you got was somebody with all the intelligence and kind of malicious intent of a man and with the self-control of an animal. And
Nice.
so that's their horses no longer exist because they were all killed by centaurs. It's like that's the kind of creature that we're dealing with
As you do.
in that regard.
Yeah.
It's a fun one. Also, elves are even worse than that, but anyway. But ladies and gentlemen, we're approaching the 3-hour mark. If there is any particular subject you guys want to tackle real quick before the end, now is your time.
Bill, just tell Zorn to take his wife to a priest and have her baptized, and get your divine permission.
It immediately sets her on
That's-
fire.
Okay, first of all, that's not coming until season 5. Okay. Second, I appreciate the gung-ho-ness. That's not quite how this works. The gods of my world are not stepping in just so that Zorn can
And you can procreate.
Thou shalt boing-a-loing.
but they will step in to screw with scientists that are doing things that they're not supposed to be doing on the planet that the gods vanished into their other realm from, which, yes, is a spoiler for the episode coming, not the one coming out next, but the one after that.
Be fruitful and multiply, or at least give it the good old college try.
And stop fucking things up.
Oh, look at he's confused. That's okay.
Here's my kitty cat right there.
That's all I had to say.
But all right, we are going to do final shills, and then I'll take us out of the world. We'll start with you, Herman, Spitting Hedge Hunter, the healthiest here on ship aboard the Iron Seas.
Really? Seriously? Boy, you guys messed up. You realize I'm going to be going through, I think, 5 surgeries this year. Did I mention that already?
Yeah.
Would you
Those
like to
in
pet
one
the kitty
frickin'
to
year.
feel better?
Will you be the bionic man? The
I
$1
might
million
have to
man?
pet the kitty.
Ow,
I got the
ow,
dog
ow,
here.
ow.
I got my dog here supporting me. Actually,
Yeah,
wants
a
food,
cat would
but-
never support you. It's obviously a
So,
dog.
well, you guys have done enough shilling for my books anyway. So, buy my book. Next one's coming. Actually, it's coming pretty soon, sooner than I thought. I thought I'd be producing it next year, and
I mean, you had a lot
Peace
of time
out.
to write it, I'm sure.
it's been a freaking struggle. This one is actually a chunker. It's about 160,000 words. So
That's big for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big old boy.
you want to get back to smaller books.
Still about 1/5 of a Stormlight book. Anyway, animation. Your turn, my friend.
Chapters of Snorlax.
You can find me on YouTube, on Twitter, and I don't have anything out yet.
And he does legendary art here on the show. Like his beautiful piece right here. This big, beautiful, the beautiful dragons. It's all about love. What's wrong with the orange one? Anyway, no. But yeah, no.
He lost his head.
I love that. I love what you contribute to our community and the show, and I'm very excited. I'm always excited to see what you're going to draw up for us. Nothing has yet conquered the peak that was the Jurassic Park drawing. Maybe someday we will, but that was fantastic.
It is a peak worth striving for.
Yes, a mountain all must climb. Draco, my friend.
Buy the Star Warden books. Buy the Epic Action Adventure series, good for ages 12 and up. And keep an eye out for any news coming from me on Draco Writes on my X profile. There may be a possible Star Warden audiobook in the future. And look out for the upcoming new book in the series, which should be out this fall, probably October, November.
Ooh.
Oh,
yeah.
All right, Bill, now it's your turn. Final show, my boy.
Yeah, I write. Zorn, if you want some good, fun adventures for teenage boys and 30-year-old man children, come check it out. And yeah,
And
I mean, I already gave
passionate
the link earlier.
procreation.
That is no. Don't listen to the Hawaiian.
Always trying to keep your brother down.
Always. Yeah, the only other thing I can say is a bit of a shill for a relative so distant I only met him a few months ago. Jason McQuistion's new book is out. It's a good read.
Nice.
I believe it. For me, I'm going to shill John's book, Icon of Justice, The Lionheart. There's some really cool moral restrictions regarding his abilities, which are really interesting as well. Very uncommon in a modern fantasy. But I think that's it. AC, any final words before I take us out of the world?
My album is up to a whopping 19 songs, 72 minutes of pulse pounding story. I've basically combined my meditation and writing, the few years I spent doing the Iron Age thing, which honestly, that never ends. It's like a long road back to, I think everybody's going to be independent. That's why I brought up the homeschooling thing to you earlier, Kahuna. But yeah, my album coming out, Apotheosis, I recently went through all the song titles and gave them all a fresh coat of paint so they're more cohesive. It's up to 19 tracks. I'm aiming for 72 minutes. Kind of inspired by albums like The Wall and The White Album. Those are up there in like the 80s and 90s of minutes back in the day when you could do that before CDs. I'm trying to bring that back. I really want to do a lot of physical product too and embrace that aspect of, you know, being an author. It's like, buy my book. Here's my physical book. Hold my book and read it. I really love that. And I think music should really maintain that. So I'm going to be looking into vinyl and whatever CDs I need to do to fit that chunk around there. But yeah, the whole thing's like a story, and it loops back into the beginning at the end. So it's cyclical, just like RK. Kahuna, I think if you gave it a few listens with the lyrics in front of you and really like thought about it, you'd be like, oh, wow, I'm seeing some stuff here. Especially with how good you laid out my world earlier. Thanks again for that. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. What he's not telling you is that most of that 72 minutes is actually taken up by a song that I helped him with. It's just 60 minutes of woos. No instrumental at all. It's a beautiful song.
It's called A Woo in the Night.
I said 19 songs, but you know, 18 of them are without Kahuna and only about 10 seconds each. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, that whole thing, I'm excited for it. The whole thing keeps changing. I'm just kind of like following my gut and praying about it, and you know, seeing where the road takes me on that. It's becoming kind of my opus of the Magnum variety. So once that bad boy drops, I'll probably be doing music videos for a while, since there's 19 songs. And I'm not talking about like 8, or I'm not talking about 9 and 9 separated by an interlude. you know. There's no interludes. It's like they're all songs. If I ever have to perform this whole album live, straight through, I'm gonna be exhausted after every show, basically. It's gonna be crazy, and I'm gonna have to step my game up for sure. But I'm excited for that. Hope y'all, whoever wants a copy right now to check it out, I'm willing to send it, even though, you know, like some things are saying out of tune, and some vocals are from like 15 years ago. With a bad mic, you know. But yeah, I mean, consider it advanced reader copies if you like metal. But I don't want to torture you if you're not into like screaming stuff or bad singing, because it will not be bad singing by the end of it. But you know, it's a whole process, just like writing a book. There's errors, right? And,
Yep, and you iron them out.
Yeah, exactly. Which, as with my family, I kind of got to take what time I can get. So, yeah, that's the end of my show. Look for Apotheosis when it drops. Empty my lungs.
Absolutely, my friend. Now, thank you for joining us aboard the Iron Seas. Today, we just got done discussing season 2 of the House of the Dragon. And we shilled a lot of work, talked stories, had a lot of guests, and a good time. We even had a head show up. And next time, I'll see you next Tuesday at 6:30 PST, the Lord's time, every Tuesday evening. See you then. Woo!